Good morning, America. It's a beautiful Saturday morning, and I'm glad to be here. I'm glad that you folks have joined me this morning. You're listening to America's Voice Now, and we are going to cover a lot of ground this morning. We've got quite a few different areas that we can address. I'm going to go over the issues of sequestration, among others. I think it's we've been kind of running helter-skelter with our issue on administrative agencies over the course of this past week. And then on Friday, you had an opportunity to hear from Steve Hodges, the Democratic candidate. And so I want to cover some news stories that we've kind of allowed to go in the background, if you will, starting with Sequester, because that Sequester issue is one that really needs to be addressed. And if you're paying any attention at all to the lamestream media, you are hearing a lot of diatribe and a lot of nonsense, I believe, none of which is very accurate. And so we'll try to address those issues. I do want to make a couple of announcements. The Amateur Ham Radio Club in West Plains is starting their program today. And this program will enable you to obtain first of all, learn about the basics of ham radio. But also, in addition to that, it'll allow you to apply for a license from the unconstitutional Federal Communications Commission, an administrative agency, I might add, and operate, a ham radio that you can talk across the county, you can talk across the country, and you can talk to folks around the world. There are some advantages to understanding and learning ham radio. The premise behind this class, it's 10 to 12 weeks, and it starts running. It only runs on Saturdays, and it's a couple of hours each Saturday, and it's going to start today. So if that's something that you've expressed interest in before, I wanted to make you aware that today is your day for that. It's going to be held at the Howell County Ambulance Building that's on K Highway. Now, that building, if you're familiar, that's the one that's across from the Best Western, I can't think of the name of that other diner there, right on 63. So you make a right, you get onto K Highway, you get down about a half a mile, and it's right there on your right. You go to the back of the building, and you can just slip in there. Now, you don't have to sign up in advance or anything like that. You can just show up there today. And that class will be held, I believe, starting at noon. Yes, it starts at noon and goes for 2 hours. And then there will be a question and answer period after that for those people who are, looking for more information as well. Now, this program is going to run for 10 or 12 weeks. You will need to get a book. The title of the book is called Ham Radio License Manual with a CD. And you can purchase that from the American Radio Relay League, or you can get it at Amazon.com. If you're going to get it from Amazon.com, it's going to be a little bit below $20. And before you go out and jump on Amazon.com, please do me and yourself a favor and go to americasvoicenow.org. Okay, before you go to Amazon, go to americasvoicenow.org. On the left side of your screen or on the right side of the screen, you're going to see a link for an Amazon ad. Simply click on any book on that ad, and it will take you to Amazon. This way, when you buy that $20 book, America's Voice Now gets, 50 cents or whatever the heck it is. So, but the point is that if you start learning how to shop by going through the link for any Amazon product, by the way, it doesn't have to be a book. Once you get there, you can put any search term in you want. But once you've linked to Amazon.com through America's Voice Now, we get, 3 or 4% of your total gross purchase. And so I encourage you to do that on a routine basis, especially if you shop at Amazon.com with any consistency. And the reason I ask you to do that is because this, as you know, is a listener-supported radio program. And one of the ways that you can help us, we have links up there for Brownells. If you're a Brownells fan, if you shop at Brownells, if you buy any firearms accessories or any parts or anything along those lines, please do it through our website. Amazon.com, another popular online shopping place. So make sure that you're doing that through our website because it does help us. Even if it's just incremental, if enough people do it, it matters. And as you know, the costs to operate and promote and run this show far exceed anything that we bring in donations. So, and I pay all of it out of my pocket, and so I could use your help in that regard. So if you're going to go and buy this book, it's called The Ham Radio License Manual with CD, and it is available on Amazon. So basically, you don't need that book today. If you're going to go to this course, you can just show up at the course because today's kind of like the introductory class. So you won't necessarily have to have the book today. And after you've left the class, if at that point, you can order your book and you'll certainly get it within a week. So this class is going to be held every Saturday for 10 to 12 weeks. And John Price is the gentleman who's going to run the class. He will help with a makeup class if there's, for some reason, you can't make one Saturday or something like that. He can help you with a makeup class. So don't worry about the fact that, oh my goodness, I can't make a 10 to 12 week commitment or something like that. Just go. The advantage, by the way, for those of you who have an interest or wonder why you want to learn ham radio, let me give you the short version. You hear me say all the time that we are reaching a point in our nation where we have to be self-reliant and we have to be prepared for emergencies. When I say emergencies, I mean natural disasters, but I also mean man-caused disasters. And let me clarify that: administrative-caused disasters. And knowing ham radio you may be the link of communication amongst your group and another group of friends that you are supporting yourselves through farming or what have you. So it's a great opportunity for an individual to understand and learn ham radio. Hey, listen, I don't even care if you never apply for the license. Know how to use ham radio. Know how it works. And in the event of an emergency, they're surely not going to be chasing you down for not paying $30 for your stupid license. So whether you take the class for the license purpose or whether you take the class just to become educated about ham radio, which would be my goal, then I think it's a great opportunity for you to do so. So please make sure that you get there. This is going to be held. Now, if you have questions, I'm going to give you a phone number here, so make sure you get a pen and paper ready. So, again, this is going to be held at the Howell County Ambulance Building right on K Highway, right on the corner there where that new VA building is, another administrative agency. And it starts at 12 noon, and it runs for 2 hours. So anyway, where you can what you can do if you have questions is you can call John Price. He's the teacher. He's also the head of the local ham radio club in the area here. 417-372-1135. Now, he's going to join us later on this morning and kind of give us an overview of what this program looks like. But I think that you'll understand that from the Prepper Patriot community concept, this is an outstanding opportunity for you to really gain an education. And if you have any interest whatsoever in radio, or you're kind of the kind of person who likes to communicate internationally or across the nation, it's a perfect opportunity for you. So I don't think John even charges for these classes. I think they're free. So it's the kind of thing that it's absolutely worth doing. Okay, we'll talk more about that in a little bit. Make sure that you do yourself a favor and see my friend Mary over at Chantilly's Artisan Bakery. Now, she's the best damn bakery you're ever going to find within a 100-mile radius, and she's got outstanding coffee, which won't be ready for me until 8 o'clock when she shows up. But at 8 o'clock sharp, she's going to have some coffee. And she has great pastries and breads and things like that. So if you have an opportunity to visit Chantilly's Artisan Bakery, number 2 Evans Arcade on the square, her telephone number is 255-2253. Mary's a really good friend of mine and a sweetheart. And so if you get a chance to patronize her establishment, please do so and let her know that you heard about it on America's Voice Now. Okay. By the way, I wonder how many of you made it to the West Plains Brew Fest last night. Those of you who did are probably not listening to me because you probably have a head swollen with a hangover. And if any of you did, I'd like to hear from you. If, by the way, you'd like to call in and comment on any aspect or part of our show today, and you don't have to stick to the topic. This is kind of like an open day, at least until John Price shows up. But you can call us here on our Wits End Classic Barbershop hotline, And that phone number, by the way, is 257-1111 and 866-554-6636. That's 417-257-1111 and 866-554-6636. Please feel free to call. We'll talk about whatever it is that floats your boat, whatever your interests are, and I'll be happy to bring you on the air. Okay, there's a lot of stuff going on with the sequester this morning, and I want to talk a little bit about that. But before we get too far into that, there's a couple of things that you need to know about that are actually good things. There is a growing number of companies that are restricting sales, firearms companies now, that are restricting sales to government agencies in those areas where government has restricted gun rights. So we all know that, as an example, New York has imposed through the dictator Governor Cuomo, the micro-dictator, right, that they've put this, draconian gun control piece in place. So you know what? Firearms manufacturers are lining up in droves and saying, okay, New York, that's fine. You go ahead and do what you want. By the way, we're no longer selling you ammunition. We're no longer selling you pistols. We're no longer selling you rifles. We're no longer selling you accessories. Have a nice day. I approve. I approve so wholeheartedly that I would like to see it become a national policy. You want to violate the gun rights of individual citizens and act like a little micro-dictatorship? Great. You're cut off. And you're cut off from all manufacturers across the board. In my opinion, that would be the best thing that we could do. We're going to take a break. When we come back, there are 34 of these companies that have joined publicly to state that the governments who seek to restrict Second Amendment rights will themselves be restricted from purchasing items they seek to limit or ban. Hip, hip, hooray. Let's take the fight to them. I've had enough of this crap about them ripping us, stomping all over us with like jackbooted thugs. Let's take the fight back. Kick it right back in their face. We're going to take a break. You're listening to America's Voice Now. By the way, you can catch our entire show streaming on our website at americasvoicenow.org. You can simply hit the button on the right that says, click here to watch live, and you can do that. Especially if you're not in our listening area. It's a great way for you to do so. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Sheila Murphy, store manager at Big Lots. We're located in the Southern Hills Shopping Center in West Plains, Missouri. Southern Hills is home to the best shopping establishment in South Central Missouri. Come visit some of your favorite department stores, and if a full day of shopping is on your list, there are also plenty of great places to eat when you get hungry. And they're all within walking distance. Southern Hills is the largest shopping center in the area and has everything you will be looking for. No need to leave West Plains. Stay local and shop local with Southern Hills Shopping Center. Proud to serve West Plains and the surrounding communities.
Hi, America. It's Hugh Hewitt on the next Hugh Hewitt Show. Congressman John Campbell is overseeing the Federal Reserve. That's right. He is chairman of the subcommittee that oversees the Federal Reserve, and he is sitting in for me. So any question that you have ever had about the Federal Reserve, now is the time to ask it. 1-800-520-1234. Congressman John Campbell in for me on the next Hugh Hewitt Show.
Sundays from 6 till 7. Following Money Talk with Bob Brinker, it's the Weekend Journal with Hugh Hewitt on the Ozarks Best News Talk 107.1.
Boom. We're back. So, I say, take the fight back to these bums. You want to play games? You want to restrict the Second Amendment? You want to take rights and liberties away from citizens? Great. Guess what? You're cut off. We've had enough of your nonsense, enough of your crap. 36 companies are calling it the way they see it. They've put a policy together that states the federal government and several states have enacted gun control laws that restrict the public from owning and possessing certain types of firearms. If a product that we manufacture is not legal to a private citizen to own in a certain jurisdiction, we will not sell that product to a law enforcement agency in that jurisdiction. Thank you, manufacturers. I applaud each and every one of them. That is an outstanding statement a declaration on their part that they are going to support us. Thank God for somebody who's got a little bit of chutzpah. You guys want to hear the whole list of who the manufacturers are? I think we should, because I tell you what we think we ought to be doing. We ought to be supporting these guys. Okay. Wow, it's a really long list. I'm going to read their names off, and I'm going to do it quickly. I'll post this up on the website, so those of you who want to order and purchase from those folks directly can do so. Extreme Firepower, Inc., Cheaper Than Dirt, Midway USA, Old Grouch's Military Surplus, Predator Intelligence, LaRue Tactical. By the way, folks, LaRue Tactical, they are the cat's meow when it comes to semi-automatic AR-type platforms. I mean, they make what's got to be the best AR-15 and 308 AR-10 platform out there. Nothing touches LaRue. Olympic Arms, Templar Custom, York Arms, Bullwater Enterprises, West Fork Armory, Smith Enterprise, Alex Arms, OFA Tactical, Spikes Tactical, Quality Arms Idaho. Spikes Tactical makes a nice AR-15 too. Quality Arms Idaho, Liberty Suppressors, Double Star Corp, American Spirit Arms. That's a good little company there. Tactical Solutions, Head Down Products, Exile Machine, J&G Sales. JG Sales, by the way, is a huge distributor of everything. You know, the firearms, accessories, the whole 9 yards. Bravo Company, USA. Ace Limited, Barrett. There you go. There's a name for the list. Everybody screams about Barrett 50 calibers. No civilian ought to own a 50 caliber. I can't understand why they need one. Well, I'll tell you why we need one. KISS Tactical. Thank you, Barrett, for doing the right thing. KISS Tactical. Nemo Arms. Top Gun Supply. Red Jacket Firearms. Badger, you know who Red Jacket is. Those are the guys down in that have had that TV show. Badger Peak, Controlled Chaos Arms, Bighorn Armory, One Source Tactical, CMMG, our own hometown Missouri manufacturer of ARs and AR platforms, all in concert. Hip hip hooray! Thank you, CMMG. My applause to you, loudly, clearly. SRT Arms and Norton Firearms. So, this is what we're going to do, folks. We're going to take the fight to them. I'm going to put this up there because not only do I have all their websites, but I have their Facebook, those who have a Facebook account. And I'll put this entire thing up on the Facebook page and also on the website today. So you'll have to wait until after the show, and I got a few things to do after the show, but I'll make sure I get it up there ASAP. PoliceLoophole.com is the website. ThePoliceLoophole.com. So that's kind of a play on words, isn't it? They're using loopholes to screw us, so we're going to use the police loophole to give it right back to them. I love that idea. I am so happy that America is beginning to come awake and aware on the Second Amendment thing. I watched a video the other day that is up on our Facebook page, and I'm going to tell you something. This was in New Jersey. Now, you know New Jersey's my home state, right? And this was a public hearing in New Jersey where they were going to institute 23 restrictive laws. And this scumbag, Maynor, who was sitting there up at the head of this program, was, it was in Denville, New Jersey. And approximately 500 citizens jammed into a room in the State House Annex in Trenton, New Jersey, for a raucous public hearing on gun control held by the New Jersey State Assembly Committee on Law and Public Safety. By the way, unconstitutional organization. The stated purpose was to allow New Jersey citizens to comment on a package of 24 gun control bills that have been rammed through the committee in recent weeks. Let me tell you what they were going to do. There were so many people there that the first thing that this scum up at the dais, his name is Maynor, first thing he said is, we're going to vote first and then hear all your comments later. Did you hear that? We're going to vote first and then we're going to hear your comments. Well, what's the point of listening to all the comments if you've already made your decision? And the truth of the matter is, this piece of trash committee had already made the decision. And by the way, they ended up passing it anyway, despite 7 hours of testimony at 2 minutes per person. 7 hours of testimony at 2 minutes per person, and these scumbags went and passed it anyway. I tell you what, New Jersey has long been a little Nazi platform anyhow. And I, for one, was glad to get out from underneath the mantle of their little domination. But I feel bad for the people who were left there. There was one young lady who really impressed me. And by the way, the link is up on Facebook. You can click through on this, and you can actually see the testimony, because it was recorded, of a number of these individuals. And this one woman who was an ex-Navy trainer, she was testifying, and this guy was completely ignoring her, this Maynor character. And he was ignoring this woman while she was doing her testimony. And she turned around and she said, "Excuse me, when I'm testifying, I expect you to pay attention and not hold a sidebar conversation." Well, you know what? He turned around and he said, "This is my meeting." Well, the public went nuts. They were jeering at him. I'm telling you, this was fun. You guys ought to see this, because, everybody thinks that New Jersey is full of all these liberal pukes, right? Let me tell you, it's not. And I lived in New Jersey. I've lived in the north, the south, all over the state. And it is truly, they used to call it the Garden State. It's still its motto, I guess. It is a beautiful state. And it has some very, very beautiful places. Where I grew up, it was very much like this, rural. And, when I was a kid, I'd go into the woods for 2-3 days at a time with a can of beans and a package of hot dogs. And my mom would say, "Okay, just be careful." I mean, nobody thought anything of, going, and I do that by myself. Nobody thought anything of that, And, we didn't carry guns in the woods because, you can't own a gun in Jersey, not easily. But anyway, there was this one young woman who was a nursing student. And she had an outstanding and very compelling testimony. And she was fired up. And in fact, she described herself at the end of her testimony as a girl on fire, referencing the movie The Hunger Games. And, I mean, she made a very declarative statement. "You will never, ever take away my unalienable Second Amendment right." I mean, she was hot. Cute, too. But, I mean, this was an outstanding opportunity for you to see how the rest of the world, even in those places that you would consider a liberal or a progressive stronghold, how they're reacting. There was an attorney there who argued about the fact that one of these declaratory rulings they were putting through. Wait until you hear this one, folks. The legislation would allow social workers and marriage counselors to place other citizens' names on the list, potentially denying them due process. I mean, you got to be kidding me. So your marriage counselor who says, "Well, these two fight all the time, I think he should be restricted from owning a gun." What? What? With no due process? I'm telling you. You see, that kind of thing is treason. That is treason. To allow an individual with no background, no training, no authority, no constitutional basis, no concept of what the real purpose of firearms is, to declare you incompetent because they're a social worker or a marriage counselor with what training? To prohibit and limit your right to own firearms on their say-so? My God, that's an act of war! Man, I get fired up about this crap. I am sick and tired of liberal pukes, the flippin' tiny little minority who run our nation like a treasonous little camp. Fight back, America! Get pissed off and do something! We're going to give you ways every single day to take action. We'll be right back.
To head off automatic spending cuts slated to kick in less than a week from now.
They'll slow our economy. They'll eliminate good jobs. They'll leave many families who are already stretched to the limit scrambling to figure out what to do.
In his weekly address asking Congress for compromise,
he's a liar.
Address, Senator John Hoeven says while the president blames Congress,
Bob Woodward, in his book, The Price of Politics, sets the record straight. Woodward says it was President Obama who proposed and promoted the sequester.
Hoeven pushing the president to approve the Keystone XL pipeline. And the father of Oscar Pistorius' slain girlfriend speaking out. Telling a South African paper the runner will have to live with his conscience if he's lying about accidentally killing her. Fox News, we report, you decide.
I know what you're thinking, punk. You're thinking, did he fire 6 shots or only 5?
Dirty Harry gets all his ammo from the battery station. John Rambo, you guessed it. He gets his ammo from the battery station, too. So if you need ammo, go to the place where the guys who know about ammunition go, the battery station. They have one of the largest supplies of ammunition in the area. So make sure you're stocked up and don't get low on shells. Go to the battery station at 303 Washington Avenue in West Plains.
We're here today to ask people about marriage.
For starters, what's the best thing about being married?
Who I get to stay married to.
Togetherness.
Having a companion.
Do you think your marriage is good for more than just the two of you?
Oh, sure, and it'll affect generations after us.
The energy we give out in our home, I think, spreads out to other people.
Sort of stabilizes your whole community. It's the cornerstone of a society, right?
Want to improve your marriage? For ideas, go to foryourmarriage.org. A message from the Catholic Church.
There's one man on this earth who really, truly gets it.
You want to know why the country's gone to hell? It's because the guy that's president of the United States, may I say, with all due respect, is an economic moron and an ideologue. And he's not going to allow knowledge and evidence and information of other sorts to get into the way of his agenda, which is why we must stop it at every turn and in every way we possibly can.
Weeknights from 5 till 8, Mark Levin on the Ozarks Best News Talk 107.1.
There's one man on this earth who really, truly gets it.
You want to know why the country's gone to hell? It's because the guy that's president of the United States, may I say, with all due respect, is an economic moron and an ideologue. And he's not going to allow knowledge and evidence and information of other sorts to get into the way of his agenda, which is why we must stop it at every turn and in every way we possibly can.
Weeknights from 5 till 8, Mark Levin on the Ozarks Best News Talk 107.1.
News Talk 107.1 The Point weather sponsorships are available for your business marketing plans. Contact Cody or Josh at 255-2548 for more information.
From the Point Weather Center for this morning, we have mostly sunny skies, high near 41 degrees, and then tonight we have a low around 26. On Sunday, sunny, high near 50. I'm Dawn James, and for more information, visit my1071thepoint.com.
It's the 21st Annual Home and Garden Show, March 2nd and 3rd at the West Plains Civic Center. As 21 years have passed, the Southern Missouri Home Builders Association is still hosting the West Plains Home and Garden Show. To celebrate, today's trends and yesterday's memories will be on display with all the latest building trends and a little touch of nostalgia. Don't miss the 21st Annual Home and Garden Show, March 2nd and 3rd at the West Plains Civic Center.
All right, we are back. Hey, America, get sick and tired of this crap and let's take our country back. 13,753 government requests for Google email data in 2012 alone. Without a warrant. Yeah, you heard me. American government agencies, state, local, and federal, made a record of 13,000 753 requests to read email and gather information through Google Gmail. More than half didn't carry a warrant. The hell do you think you are? Who the hell does Google think it is to hand your data over? You remember when I had on 2 weeks ago, when I had on the girl from Start Page? Well, you oughta. Dr. Albrecht, Catherine Albrecht. She's also the expert on RFID. I hope you sent your email to Start Page to say to their beta program so that when they start their secure email system, you can use it. I've had enough of this crap. Who do these people think they are? And I will bet you money that they were administrative agencies. You know why? Because they operate outside the Constitution. They operate outside the law. And I, for one, am sick and tired of it. And I hope you are too. It's enough is enough is enough. People, this is tyranny. It's a police state. Don't you get it? This scum, whomever they are, that demanded 13,753 people's email, let me tell you something. They're not terrorists. Not the kind you've got to worry about. They're the kind the government has to worry about. People who are tired of putting up with the abuse and the lies and the theft. Realistic, generational, now, tomorrow. Past decades worth of theft from a bunch of fat marshmallows who sit up on Capitol Hill, delegate the authority you've given them, betray you, lie to you, cheat you, rob you of your rights, of your money, of your freedom, of your liberty. Scumbags all. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of people running around in fear. Well, I can't say anything. They're going to come after me. I'll be on a list. You're already on a list, you idiot. What makes you think you're safe now? You're already on a list. Pathetic. New Jersey wants to put those people named by their marriage counselor on a do-not-fly list. What? Don't you get it? We are being squeezed. We have a giant Warsaw ghetto. It's called the entire 50 states. And the scum in Congress who have dealt away, without your authority, your permission, ceded away your authority and given extra constitutional authority to a bunch of unelectable, unaccountable, bureaucratic, pencil-necked geeks who are sitting there writing pieces of legislation all day long like scurrying little ants. Screwing you over day in and day out. That's their sole function in life. They are drones. They do the bidding of their evil masters. And make no mistake about it, what our country is doing to our citizenry today is pure, unmitigated evil. Make no mistake. This is evil in its purest, and if you want to couch it that way, biblical sense. This is evil. Tyranny, betrayal, lies. Evil. You cannot couch those things any other way. Well, the president's not truthful with us. No, he's not truthful, but let's call it what it is. It's a bald-faced liar from a pathological liar who sits in the highest seat of power on the planet. You have to have respect for the office. No, I don't. I don't have to have respect for him. He has usurped and absconded the power that he has. He's bought his way in there with untold billions and trillions of dollars worth of giveaways and freebies. He didn't earn that office. He stole it. And he paid for it with your money. Come on. Wake up, America. When are you going to stop falling for the same crap, hook, line, and sinker, decade after decade? He's, by the way, not vastly different from the last pieces of trash who were in the office. They're all liars. They're all thieves. Trust me, by the time they get to the point where they're running for president, they have long ago sold their soul to the devil. Literally. America is faltering because America is ensconced and living evilly. We live and wallow and dance and sing and swim in evil. And you are being slowly but surely boiled like the frog. It's been on for 100 years, people. It's impossible to understand why people don't get that. I mean, how anyone could not see that coming is beyond my comprehension. You want more proof? Jack Lew, the nominee for Treasury Secretary. Guess where he came from? Citigroup. Where else? They all come from Citigroup or J.P. Morgan. Every Treasury Secretary for the last, 60 years has come from the investment banking community. No wonder it's corrupt. The Federal Reserve owns the damned nation. And they own all the major banks. Or the banks own them. However you want to classify it. Jack Lew, by the way, and he's got secret accounts all over the world. I mean, please, people, you got to be kidding me. When are you and when is America going to stand up and say, you know what? We're taking a week off. In fact, we're not going to make it a week. We're going to make it as long as it takes. And 5 or 7 or 10 or 40 million of us are going to go stand in Washington, and we're not leaving until you all go. You must hand in your resignations. And then you are forever barred from participating again. And then when the house is empty, we can go in and we can look at what they have done to us, living in our house, like a scene from Animal House. Bottles and trash and garbage and pizza boxes strewn about while they partied and frittered away our time, our money, our livelihood, our liberty. And then we need to patch the walls. And we need to clean up the trash. And we need to open the windows and open the doors and let fresh air in. And we need to sweep those floors and get every lick and speck of dust and dirt and filth removed from our house. Our house. And we need to put out a sign right out in the front, big and bold. You may not come here again. You are barred. You are prohibited. We need to get rid of the trash in our house. They must go. There is no other way to deal with this. And if we don't deal with it soon, we're going to find that it's too late for us to deal with it alone. And who's going to come and help us? I mean, really, who's going to come and help us? You know, I've told you before, and I want you to do your homework. I've told you before about what they did in Iceland. It's up on our Facebook pages, a link there to some stories about it. You know what they did in Iceland? We both had a financial collapse in 2008. We had one and they had one. And here's what they did. They indicted their prime minister. Indicted him. 200 criminal charges against bank executives. 200. They allowed their banks to fail. They forgave homeowners their debt exceeding 110% of their home value. They cleaned their house. And they said, you're all fired, we're starting over. You know what we did? Not a single person has been charged criminally. The banks were bailed out. Executives were given bonuses. Millions of families were kicked out of their homes. Literally, tens of millions of Americans found themselves on the outside looking in from the foreclosure window. They stole more liberty, more freedoms from you. Why is it that we have a financial crash engineered by the Federal Reserve System that has cost Americans well over $1 trillion in equity in their homes? Trillions of dollars in loss in their 401ks. Trillions. And not a single person has gone to jail. Not a single one. Not one. Not one. Treason is as treason does. Welcome to the new America. We'll be right back. You're listening to America's Voice Now.
The area's best selection of firearms, ammunition, and accessories can only be found at West Plains Pawn and Jewelry, your Class 3 dealer for automatic weapons and suppressors, including Gemtech and Huntertown, with a great selection of holsters, slings, magazines, and gun storage options. West Plains Pawn and Jewelry will also do special orders. With new arrivals every week, the area's best selection of firearms, ammunition, and accessories can only be found at West Plains Pawn and Jewelry, 1713 West U.S. Highway 160, or shop online at westplainspawn.com.
Come join us for the grand opening of CrossFit Somo's new facility, 220 North Kentucky Avenue, March 1st and 2nd. They offer classes 7 days a week with over 5,000 square feet of floor space. CrossFit Somo's staff of 7 Level 1 certified instructors will be with you 100% of the time to ensure a safe and effective workout. Classes are also available for ladies only and CrossFit kids. Memberships are filling up fast. Be a part of the CrossFit revolution. March 1st and 2nd. CrossFit Somo, forging elite fitness.
There is this product on Amazon that is simply going crazy. The banana slicer, almost 2,500 consumer reviews. I've been trying to come up with an ideal way to slice a banana. Use a knife, they say. Well, my parole officer won't let me around knives. Or how about this one? What can I say about the banana slicer that hasn't already been said about the wheel or penicillin? Obviously, just a pure hoax.
Saturdays noon to 3 and weekdays at 7:35 for your Digital Minute. It's Kim Commando on the Ozarks Best News Talk 107.1.
Hey, see our friends over at West Plains Pawn and Gun. They are available on the web at westplainspawn.com. They have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of firearms in stock available for you. They have accessories, ammunition, holsters, optics, pretty much anything that runs in the firearms gamut. and they'd be more than happy to help you out with your needs. You can find them on Route 160, about a mile and a half past Walmart, and on the right-hand side. And it's called West Plains Pawn and Gun, and also jewelry. They do handle pawn and jewelry items as well. You can find them on your telephone at 417-256-3000. That's 417-256-3000. Now, we also, by the way, tentatively have a date for March. I believe it's March 30th. That is the weekend of the last weekend in March. And we are going to actually sponsor a program. Let me just make sure I get to the right month here and confirm that it is right. March 30th, we are going to be doing, and it's being sponsored by West Plains Pawn, we're going to be doing a reloading class. Aha, you say. I have always wanted to know how to reload my own ammunition. Well, guess what? Put it down on your calendar. Save your shekels. We're going to have a class on March 30th. Okay? It's an all one-day class. It's going to take about 8 hours. And the people who are going to teach it are either certified by the National Rifle Association for, training others on. The game plan here is this. We want to make sure that those folks who are learning are going to be learning from careful and well-trained individuals. And because we don't want any, reloading can be a hazardous thing if you don't know what you're doing. So the goal is that you can take a reloading class that will allow you to not only understand all of the basics of how to actually begin to load cartridges yourself, your own metallic cartridges. This won't be shotgun. This will only be metallic. But in addition, there will be actual reloading kits that you can buy right there, everything included. So this is March 30th. If you are interested in taking this class, I need you to send me an email because I need you to register in advance for this. And so here's what you got to do. You got to send me an email to mike@americasvoicenow.org. It's March 30th. The cost is going to be $100. And what you're going to do is send me an email with the subject line says reloading. I will put you on the list. I will get back to you with the specifics on anything that you're really not going to need to bring anything, but I'll give you the location where we're going to hold it and so forth and so on. March 30th, reloading class. Now, I have gotten a ton of questions, emails, and inquiries about reloading because ammunition is in such short supply, and it's so doggone expensive. I mean, there's a report that came out the other day that says ammunition has gone up 147% in just the last year. So this is your chance to learn how to reload properly, safely. And let me tell you about one of the real benefits of reloading. When you reload, you can actually find out exactly what you can build like a custom load for your favorite rifle or handgun. And the point is that you can find out exactly what grain weight of bullet, what grain weight of powder, and what type or brand of powder you can load the best, most accurate load. You hear these guys who say, I can shoot at 300 yards and put one ragged hole in a piece of paper. They can. But let me tell you something. Most of them aren't using factory ammunition. They're using hand-loaded ammunition. And they're using, reloaded ammunition that they load themselves, and they understand exactly what is required to make that load deadly accurate. Because they experiment with different grain weights of powder and a different grain weight of the bullet. What makes a bullet accurate is the lands and grooves in the barrel, right? Or what's called the rifling. Well, some on a 308 as an example, sometimes it's a 1 in 10 twist. Sometimes it's a 1 in 11 twist. Sometimes it's 1 in 10 1/4. Sometimes it's 1 in 11 1/2. 11 1/4. Sometimes it's 1 in 10 1/2. Guess what? Any bullet weight, grain weight on the actual piece of copper and lead that goes down the bore is going to react differently based on the speed that it's spinning when it leaves the barrel. So you have an opportunity to build a load where you say, okay, this rifle operates exactly like I want it to operate when I load this many grains of this brand of powder. I use this grain weight on the bullet, and I take my cases and I polish them up and I do all the right things. Guess what? You can get one ragged hole if you load your own ammunition with almost any gun. Because, you see, the tolerances that are built into a custom loaded round for that particular rifle. And if you talk to reloaders, they'll tell you, well, I've got a recipe for every gun in my cabinet. I've got a load recipe that I do for my Remington or my Winchester or my, whatever it is, my AR. They build a custom load for their guns. And then once they've got that custom load down and they've built the recipe for that weapon, they just keep replicating it. Boom, 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 spit them out. So the idea is, with reloading, one, you can load your own, and if you're going to load in bulk, you can actually load for less than it will cost you to buy it commercially. Two, you can actually improve the quality of the load that you're getting over what you would buy commercially anyway. And three, you have a skill set that can never be taken from you. Did you hear what I just said? You have a skill set that is invaluable, especially with the pressure right now on firearms and ammunition, that can never be taken from you. It's $100 lousy bucks. Take the doggone class. Kenny from West Plains Pawn is going to be the sponsor of this program. There are only 35 seats open for this class. That's it. If there are 50 people that want to take it, 15 of you are going to have to wait for the second class. So don't call me up on the 11th hour and say, hey, Mike, I want to get in that class. No. Do yourself a favor. Send me an email to mike@americasvoicenow.org and reserve your spot for this class, because it is absolutely critically important that you have this skill under your belt. And here's something else. I encourage a father and a son, or a father and a daughter, or a husband and a wife, or a mother and a son or daughter, or whatever, to take this class together. In other words, two of you take it. Because it's a family skill that you can use together, and two brains are always better than one. So as you guys are building a load, you can work off of each other's ideas and concepts. And by the way, you're also a good check on each other for safety issues. So, when you're working at the press, your son or your daughter or your wife may say, wait a second, don't get distracted. Let's focus on what we're doing here. I strongly encourage you to take this class. It's going to be held March 30th. Cost is $100. Be the cheapest $100 you ever spent. Heck, you can't even buy a few hundred rounds of ammo for $100 now. Have you noticed the price of ammo? It's like $1 a round. So this is a perfect chance for you to get that training under your belt. West Plains Pawn and Gun, 417-256-3000. There will be presses available that day in a couple of different brand names, and you'll be able to buy a press, everything you need, kit and caboodle, one place, boom. Just pick it up, take it home with you. If you can't afford the press right then, at least you've got the class and you've got the training under your belt. And that's what's critically important. Knowledge is not only, in this case, power, but knowledge is money. Okay, send me an email to mike@americasvoicenow.org. And your subject line will be reloading. Okay? Don't forget to do this now. Reloading is the subject line, mike@americasvoicenow. We're going to take a break. It's the top of the hour. I want to thank Jason over at Wits End Classic Barbershop, who's the sponsor of our phone lines. He is the guy who runs that little barbershop over there on the square. Outstanding place. I get my hair cut there all the time. He's $10 and does an outstanding job. Throw him a tip, by the way. But he also does this hot lather shave with a straight razor thing that's kind of a treat for your guy. And then he also has that zero gravity chair in his studio in the back there. And I'll tell you what, that thing is mind-blowing. It literally is excellent if you've got leg problems, circulation problems, any kind of issues like that, anywhere in your body. Very inexpensive, outstanding opportunity. Go see him, Jason, at Wits End Classic Barbershop on the Square in West Plains. We'll be right back.
News Talk for Missouri and Arkansas. 107.1 KBMV, Birch Tree, West Plains. The Point.
says a little compromise can prevent automatic spending cuts from kicking in Friday if there's no deal on reducing the deficit.
Unfortunately, it appears that Republicans in Congress have decided that instead of compromising, instead of asking anything of the wealthiest Americans, they'd rather let these cuts fall squarely on the middle class.
The president, in his weekly address for the Republicans, North Dakota Senator John Hoeven, says the president is the one unwilling to compromise.
So the question is, why won't he work with us? And the answer, quite simply, is because he wants higher taxes.
A group of governors meeting in Washington warned the fight is threatening their states' economies. Our military is establishing a base in the African nation of Niger for unarmed surveillance drones that will provide intelligence for French troops fighting Islamic militants across the border in Mali. About 100 American troops are being deployed. Well, they knew one tank was a problem, but it's worse than that.
6 underground storage tanks at the Hanford Nuclear Reservation in south central Washington are leaking.
There's been problems in the past, but for years we've been told that these were secure. And now we find out they're not.
David Postman is a spokesman for Washington's governor. The feds already spend about $2 billion a year on cleaning up Hanford. Thankfully, there were no immediate reports of health risks. Hanford was created in the 40s as part of the Manhattan Project, where they produced plutonium. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News Radio.
3 white weekends in a row in New England.
Accumulating snow will be across anywhere from Boston northward into southern Maine. That'll be the main area for some snow with this system. And we're looking at, a few inches of snow, nothing too terrible.
That's Ryan Jewell with the National Weather Service. That storm weakened after pounding the plains and states in the Midwest over the last few days. Kansas hit especially hard. You're listening to Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
You're in the Fox Light.
Best Actor nominee Hugh Jackman tells The Hollywood Reporter that self-help guru Tony Robbins helped him overcome his fear of playing the lead in Les Miserables. The Aussie says he had a lot of anxiety about taking on the iconic character of Jean Valjean. Maxim magazine has named Alicia Cuthbert the most beautiful woman on TV. The former 24 star says she's flattered, but worries that being on the cover will make going to work on her show, Happy Endings, uncomfortable. The Country Music Hall of Fame is opening a new exhibit featuring items from Idol winner and country superstar Carrie Underwood's latest tour. The American Idol microphone relay will begin its cross-country walk, run, bike, row, skateboard, line dance, roller skate, drive, and fly March 1st in New York City. In Hollywood, William LaJeunesse, Fox News.
The Fox Light.
Keep listening for more Focus from the Fox Light on Fox News Talk.
An American pastor held in Iran gets a...
Breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and the Donut Palace is open at 5 a.m. every day.
The best donuts made fresh daily like Long John's, Eclairs, Bear Claws, and old-fashioned donuts. Try a hot and fresh bacon, egg, and cheese croissant or a kolache sandwich for breakfast and pair it up with some Starbucks coffee.
Start your morning right with the Donut Palace. And for the busy people, the drive-thru can get you your order even quicker. Located at 914 Broadway in West Plains, the Donut Palace, where the customer is still king.
Hi, America. It's Hugh Hewitt on the next Hugh Hewitt Show. Congressman John Campbell is overseeing the Federal Reserve. That's right. He is chairman of the subcommittee that oversees the Federal Reserve, and he is sitting in for me. So any question that you have ever had about the Federal Reserve, now is the time to ask it. 1-800-520-1234. Congressman John Campbell in for me on the next Hugh Hewitt Show.
Sundays from 6 till 7, following Money Talk with Bob Brinker, it's the Weekend Journal with Hugh Hewitt on the Ozarks Best News Talk 107.1.
Weather is a service of News Talk 107.1 The Point. Contact Josh or Cody at 255-2548 for more information on making weather sponsorships part of your marketing plans.
From the Point Weather Center for this morning, we have mostly sunny skies, high near 41 degrees, and then tonight we have a low around 26. On Sunday, sunny, high near 50. I'm Dawn James, and for more information, visit my1071thepoint.com.
This year, firefighters like Fire Chief James Hall will battle wildfires around the country in hopes of containing them. But firefighters can't do it alone.
A single ember that escapes from a wildfire can travel more than a mile, or it can ignite and destroy your home and community.
Get fire adapted. Learn simple steps you can take now to reduce wildfire damage later at fireadapted.org. A public service message brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council. Learn more at fireadapted.org.
It's about the restoration of our republic. We want to educate, encourage, enable the power. We stand for integrity, honesty, self-reliance, self-defense, and most importantly, no compromise on our foundational principles. This is America's Voice Now.
Find America's Voice Now on Facebook and at americasvoicenow.org. Here's Michael Evans.
Ooh-ah, we're back. Yes, we are. Okay, I want to talk about a couple of our programs out there. Our TAC 1 pistol training. We have a tentative date for TAC 1 pistol training. March 23rd. That's the weekend before the reloading class. And if you have expressed interest in taking the TAC 1 2-day pistol class, that weekend is called March 23rd. All right? So if you're going to take the TAC 1 pistol class, you've got to send me an email that says TAC 1. You can send it to me at mike@americasvoicenow.org. That's mike@americasvoicenow.org. If you're interested in CCW training, I need an email from you. If you've already sent me one, and you're still interested, you can send me another one if you want. But I'm going to be contacting those people back that have contacted me about the TAC 1 pistol training, the CCW, our co-op, which I'm going to get into in a minute, and our law seminar, and now our reloading class. These are all part of the Restore Missouri project, and if you haven't remembered that, shame on you. Our Restore Missouri project is not only designed to drive legislative change and initiatives within our state itself, but also to make sure that you have the proper training and equipment necessary to become a patriotic American citizen who will defend your own family, your own self, be self-reliant, responsible, and make sure that you have all the tools and skills that you need necessary to be a self-reliant American. So please make sure that you're sending me emails to mike@americasvoicenow.org. That's TAC 1 pistol training, the CCW training classes, the co-op, and our law seminar, and our reloading class. That's 5 different programs we've put together for you guys. Now, those of you who ordered in the last co-op orders, your order is ready today to be picked up. Hip, hip, hooray. From 9 o'clock onward this morning, you can get your order, your co-op order, and they are in today, and make sure that you get down there and pick that up today. The co-op is an opportunity for you to buy bulk food at a discounted rate, and your order is in today. So if you went in and placed an order, it's available for you to pick up. Okay. Our TAC 1 pistol training, now that's a 2-day class. And the reason I put it out to March 23rd is because you need to come up with somewhere around 750 or 800 rounds of ammunition. To be safe, you should have 1,000 rounds, which means you're going to have to start going out and buying ammo now. And you're going to need at least a semi-automatic pistol, a holster, 3 magazines, hearing protection, eye protection, rain gear if you're a whiner, snivel gear as we call it, and you're going to have your ducks in a row to take this class. It is a 2-day intensive self-defense and offense tactical pistol course that will teach you how to operate a firearm in a critical and tactical situation, exigent circumstance, right? You'll learn how to shoot on the move. You'll learn how to move. What's the difference between cover and concealment? What is a speed reload versus a tactical reload, and a host of other issues. By the time you get done with this 2 days worth of training, you will be long on your way towards being a marksman with a pistol, and you will be very, very comfortable with your knowledge and your skills. And then, of course, because they are a temporary skill that will disappear without constant training and practice, you now know what to practice to make sure that you keep your skills in place. So I encourage you to make sure that you're emailing us about TAC 1 pistol training March 23rd, and your co-op food is ready. If you're interested in CCW training, I'm putting classes together. That's a one-day class on a Saturday. And the law seminar, which is coming up in March also. I just don't have a specific date for that. That's the one with Mike Brown. And that's a critical class for you to learn because it'll teach you how to defend yourself against these administrative agencies that we talked about all this week. How do you defeat these bums at their own game? How do you block their unconstitutional actions in that affect your life? And whether you're a farmer or whether you are a business where you have to have a license to be in business, how do you defeat administrative agencies when they come down on you with like jackbooted thugs or a wall of brick? And then last but not least, our reloading class, that will be March 30th, and that is an imperative class for you to take. I'll be announcing this as we go forward over the course of the week. I'll be reiterating and beating these dates into your mind because you should be attending all of these. Okay, I want to thank our friends over at Pizza Hut on Porter Wagoner Boulevard for supporting this radio program. They have an outstanding lunch buffet that is available from 11 to 2. There's a salad bar, and then there's pizza, so you can have something healthy and something that tastes great. And you can get in there. When you go in there, ask for Bree. She is a special friend of mine. In fact, she's my daughter. So ask her. She'll be your server. And make sure you give her a nice tip. Thank you. And they will take very, very good care of you. So get into Pizza Hut any day, of course, during the week. But Monday through Friday, they have their lunch special, which runs from 11 to 2. And it's an open buffet, and it's a flat price. On Tuesdays, they have Kids Eat Free. And that means any kid under 12 can eat for free. They call it family night. So make sure that you bring the whole family. Kids under 12 eat free. And, hey, you can't get away for better than that, right? It's a nice opportunity to take the family out for pizza and save a few shekels while you're at it. Our friends over at the Battery Station, 303 Washington Avenue, and that's in West Plains, of course. You can reach them via telephone at 257-7799. That's 417-257-7799. You can find them at batterystation.com, and they have flashlights and tactical gear and holsters and all kinds of things. They've got magazines for some weapons. They also have ammunition, and they have the amazing but absolutely necessary to have life straw. Now, you've heard me talk about this thing before. You've got to have at least one of these for every member of your family. They're a lousy $20 a piece. And this is a plastic tube that's about at the size around of a quarter. And it's got a cap on both ends. You literally pop the caps off. You can shove this straight into, look, I'm gonna give you an example of how good this thing is. You could put it into a toilet and drink that water. It removes 99.9999% of bacteria and harmful bacteria in the water. 99.9999%. Folks, I mean, you're not going to get better than it for $20 lousy. You owe it to yourself and every member of your family to have one of these in your kit bag or your bug out bag or whatever you want to call it. If you're a hunter, you can drink straight out of a stream, a pond, a creek, whatever it is that you want, and you don't have to carry water with you. So you cannot beat this thing. It costs $20 lousy. I have one for every member of my family, and I keep one in each car. And so an absolute mandatory requirement that you have a life straw. You can find them at the Battery Station at 303 Washington Avenue, batterystation.com, right here in West Plains, or you can get them via telephone at 417-257-7799. Make sure also that you meet our friend Bill Stone over at Stone Construction if you're considering doing any kind of remodeling, construction, light commercial, whether it be home, farm, or your business. Bill does a couple of amazing things. He's got a group of local projects he's finished, just to give you an idea of some of the work that they've done. They've built the Faith Assembly South Edition. They built the 11-Point Equine Center. They restored the Big Yellow House on East Main Street, which is kind of like a community center house. They have built numerous homes and duplexes in this area. They've done Mastercraft's office renovation. And They also offer a kind of a unique service, which is full service contractor work, which is turnkey. So they do everything from soup to nuts: the dirt work, framing, foundation, electrical, plumbing, roofing, concrete, hardwood floor, all of that. He even offers a construction management project, which is actually very unique. What this does is you can actually be your own general contractor, and he makes sure that he's overseeing your work so that you're not making the typical mistakes that a homeowner encounters when they try to build their own home, but without any experience. So you can save money because you'll be the general contractor, but he'll just kind of mentor you, if you will. And it'll make sure that you're saving money, that you've got the right quality control, that he'll help you find the right subcontractors to do the work at the right bids and the right prices, and because he already knows who they are. And they'll help you find competitive pricing for materials and that kind of thing. All of these services are offered in his construction management program, and it's an outstanding way for you to be the GC of your own project, save a ton of money, and make sure it gets done right, on time, and on budget. They also do pole barns, shops, and decks, and concrete work, and structural work. They do flat work. They do welded steel pipe corrals, repair of masonry, and things like that. Make sure that you get a hold of Bill over at Stone Construction at 293-0116, because you won't find anyone better to either bid on your current project, whatever that may be, or to help you and assist you in acting as a mentor on your current project, whatever that is. It doesn't matter whether it's residential or commercial, whether it's a remodel or brand new construction, or light commercial or farm work. It's Bill Stone at Stone Construction. You can reach him at 293-0116. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about the issue of what went off, as I mentioned earlier, in the Icelandic Revolution. And it's important that you understand what transpired in Iceland, because the mainstream media has never, ever, ever uttered a single peep about what transpired over in Iceland. Now, there's a reason for that. They don't want you getting any bad ideas. What bad ideas could you possibly have? Well, for starters, in Iceland, after the 2008 financial collapse, they indicted their prime minister. They charged 200 bank executives criminally. They allowed their banks to fail, and they forgave their homeowner debt, which exceeded 110% of the home value. And, perhaps even most importantly, they started with a clean, fresh slate. We didn't do that. We don't have a single person that's been charged criminally. The banks were bailed out. The executives got millions in bonuses, and millions of Americans lost their home to foreclosure.
The area's best selection of firearms, ammunition, and accessories can only be found at West Plains Pawn and Jewelry.
Online at westplainspawn.com.
Top of the line, new and used optics from Nikon, Leopold, Burris, Redfield, Zeiss, and Schmidt & Bender. Ask about their selection of binoculars, laser sights, and night vision goggles. With new arrivals every week, the area's best selection of firearms, ammunition, and accessories can only be found at West Plains Pawn and Jewelry, 1713 West US Highway 160, or shop online at westplainspawn.com. Are you looking to save money? Did you know that in the last 20 years, interest rates have never been this low? That's why you should make the smart call today to West Plains Savings and Loan to start your home mortgage. Just imagine how much money you'll save. Key word is save, as in savings and loan. Your loan starts here and stays here. Never would it be sold to a secondary lender. Call today, 256-3042. That's 256-3042. West Plains Savings and Loan. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
That was quick. Okay. So what happened in Iceland that was so vastly different from what we did? Well, they repudiated the debt that was built up by a bunch of tyrants and liars and thieves and cutthroats and carpetbaggers that they had previously called their government leaders. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the news they don't want you to know. I'm going to read you this quick story. Did you know that the peaceful Icelandic revolution that took place over the last 5 years, have you heard about it? If you didn't, It's likely because it was never televised or talked about very much on all mainstream news. One would have to be part of the right website or Facebook page to even find out that this has been going on. Why is this the case? Why keep something so monumental hidden from the public? First, let's look at what took place with this revolution. Then it will become much more clear as to why it was never televised. It was during a time of a lot of financial turmoil around the world, and stories were popping up all over the news of how banks around the world had been crushing or minimizing rebellion by receiving massive bailouts to keep them alive. The Icelandic story is different because there was no crushing or ending the rebellion. Instead, the people rose up. This is why it was not seen on TV anywhere. If the rest of the world knew that the people of Iceland had won, it just might give them some ideas. During the financial turmoil of 2008 and 2009, the people of Iceland forced their government and banks to resign. How did they do this? Peacefully. The following is a summation of what steps they took over a process of several years, and it all began with each one of them realizing this could no longer continue. 2008, the main bank of Iceland is nationalized. The krona, which is the currency of Iceland, devaluates and the stock market halts. The country is in bankruptcy. 2008, a little bit later, citizens rise up at Parliament and succeed in forcing the resignation of both the Prime Minister and the effective government. New elections are held. Yet the country remains in a bad economic situation. A Parliament Act is passed to pay back 3,500 million euros to Great Britain and Holland by the people of Iceland monthly during the next 15 years with a 5.5% interest. So what did they do? First of all, they immediately cleaned out their prime minister, which, you know, in parliamentary system is the equivalent of like our president. So they removed their prime minister and their effective government. Now, the both houses of parliament, you know, we emulate that with the House of Representatives and the Senate, right? New elections were held. In other words, they kicked the bums out, and they started over. The 2010, the people of Iceland again take to the streets to demand a referendum. If you don't know what a referendum is, it is a collective vote. In January of 2010, the president of Iceland denies approval, instead announcing a popular vote on the matter by the people. In March, a referendum and denial of payment is approved by a popular vote of 93% of the nation. Wow. 93% of the nation denied payment on the debt. Meanwhile, government officials initiate an investigation and bring to justice those responsible for the crisis. Many high-level executives and bankers are arrested. Interpol dictates an order to force all implicated parties to leave Iceland. They kicked them out of the country. An assembly is elected to write a new constitution based predominantly on Denmark's constitution, by the way, and to avoid entrapment of debt-based currency, foreign loans. Did you hear how smart these folks were? 25 citizens are chosen with no political affiliation out of the 522 candidates. The only elections for qualification for candidacy are adulthood and the support of 30 people. The Constitutional Assembly started in February of 2011. It continues to present a Carta Magna from recommendations provided by various assemblies throughout the country. Ultimately, it must be approved by both the current parliament and the one created through the next legislative election. It's quite a story. You can most definitely see at this point why this was not covered in newspapers, on radio networks, or on television. Imagine seeing this story on TV several times a day wherever you live in the world. Do you think the people would start to get ideas? Maybe try the same thing? Most definitely. There is always a constant push of fear, murders, anger, government success, health fallacies, lies, and false information. But never do we hear of stories that could be a threat to the system. That, my friends, is the defining factor here. Another key factor in this revolution that we have to look at is that it did not come from a place of violence, bloodshed, or anger. It was 100% peaceful. No guns, no fighting. It was simply people getting together peacefully and working things out. This is something this entire world is capable of, but believes is impossible, because you've been taught that it's impossible. But trust me, it's not. Humanity has been so programmed to give itself little credit in this department. We always hear about how we need to be governed. There are too many crazy people out there. We need a big brother keeping control. The truth is, without the confines and certain rules the system employs, we would be a much more peaceful people. Excuse me. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm still fighting this cold. The truth is, without the confines and certain rules of system employees, or the system employs, we would be a much more peaceful people, mainly because we no longer act in survival mode. Now, I am not here to say that the system is the only issue, because it isn't. Our programming is always very strong in what we have been taught and believe about ourselves. I am simply here to say this programming can be broken, and our consciousness can and is changing. I also thought it was a big step to see Iceland employ a new means of choosing its leaders. Someone who is an adult and has 30 people supporting them can run. This is great, as the only reason why we have educated politicians today is because the elite needs to know that the people are programmed to repeat the system over and over and over. Generally, they also have to have corporate affiliation, financial affiliation, as well, so that they know they can be controlled by the money. Now, Iceland is proceeding to actually prosecute some of the formerly most powerful bankers, and the Icelandic special prosecutor has stated that it very well may indict some additional 90 people. Meanwhile, over 200 people, including the former chief executives of Iceland's 3 biggest banks, face criminal charges for their activities. So, what you have to realize, folks, is that it is within our ability, it is within our power to make these changes. And what's proof of that is the fact that you never knew this happened. You never heard it before. You've not found anything online about it. It was never mentioned in the mainstream media. You never read about it in the paper. You never heard about it on Faux News or Communist News Network or MSLSD. You never heard this story before. Why? They don't want you getting any ideas in that silly little sheeple head of yours. They did it peacefully, without a single shot being fired, ever. They basically said, we, the people, have had enough. And it is up to us to change the nation. And they did. Now, would it be that easy here in the United States of America? Probably not. Probably not, because we have a welfare state which our government has propped up and adds to in droves every single day, with purpose and malice aforethought. I promise you this, our welfare state is kept in place with malice aforethought for a very clear and specific reason. They want the masses dependent upon them, so that you don't have the brass, the cojones, the balls to go out there and say, not today. Because you're sitting there thinking, well, what am I going to do for food? What am I going to do for my welfare check? What am I going to do when they cut my food stamps? How am I going to take little Johnny to the doctor? Let me tell you something. my friend and yours, said exactly what you need to hear right now. Is life so dear, or peace so sweet, as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God. I know not what course others may take. But as for me, give me liberty or give me death. America, that is the mantra upon which you must stand. We'll be right back.
Scrambling to try and head off automatic spending cuts coming in less than a week.
Unfortunately, it appears that Republicans in Congress have decided that instead of compromising, instead of asking anything of the wealthiest Americans, they'd rather let these cuts fall squarely on the middle class.
President using his weekly address to put out a call for lawmakers to deal with the sequester, the GOP blaming the president.
House Republicans have already passed 2 bills to replace the president's sequester. So the question is, why won't he work with us? And the answer, quite simply, is because he wants higher taxes.
Senator John Hoeven of North Dakota and in Washington state, 6 underground tanks holding radioactive and toxic waste are leaking at the country's most contaminated nuclear site. The waste is not reported to have caused immediate health risks. Fox News, we report, you decide.
I know what you're thinking, Bunk. You're thinking, did he fire 6 shots or only 5?
Dirty Harry gets all his ammo from the battery station. John Rambo, you guessed it. He gets his ammo from the battery station, too. So if you need ammo, go to the place where the guys who know about ammunition go, the battery station. They have one of the largest supplies of ammunition in the area. So make sure you're stocked up and don't get low on shells. Go to the battery station at 303 Washington Avenue in West Plains.
We believe the better the ingredients, the better the taste to bring to you the greatest tasting pastries possible. At Chantilly's Artisan Bakery, we use organic, locally sourced, and natural ingredients of the highest quality. Every item is handcrafted and baked fresh for you each and every day. Visit Chantilly's Artisan Bakery, number 2 Evans Arcade on the Courthouse Square in downtown West Plains, or call 255-2253, and you'll be glad you did.
Imagine having your check deposited every month on time with no hassle and at no cost to you. Direct deposit with Community First puts your Social Security, retirement, or payroll check directly into any of your Community First accounts. It's just as safe and secure as if you made the deposit in person. Make things easy with direct deposit at Community First.
Living up to our name, Community First Banking Company.
Community First. Member FDIC.
There's one man on this earth who really, truly gets it.
You want to know why the country's gone to hell? It's because the guy that's president of the United States, may I say, with all due respect, is an economic moron and an ideologue. And he's not going to allow knowledge and evidence and information of other sorts to get into the way of his agenda, which is why we must stop it at every turn and in every way we possibly can.
Weeknights from 5 till 8, Mark Levin on the Ozarks Best News Talk 107.1.
Weather sponsorships are now available on News Talk 107.1 The Point. Get more information, email info@diamondmediaradio.com for complete details.
From the Point Weather Center for this morning, we have mostly sunny skies, high near 41 degrees, and then tonight we have a low around 26. On Sunday, sunny, high near 50. I'm Dawn James, and for more information, visit my1071thepoint.com.
There's one man on this earth who really, truly gets it.
You want to know why the country's gone to hell? It's because the guy that's president of the United States, may I say, with all due respect, is an economic moron and an ideologue. And he's not going to allow knowledge and evidence and information of other sorts to get into the way of his agenda, which is why we must stop it at every turn and in every way we possibly can.
Weeknights from 5 till 8, Mark Levin on the Ozarks Best News Talk 107.1.
we're back. Don't forget that this morning, if you were sleeping while I was out working so hard, being here on the radio for you guys, don't forget that John Price is going to be running his Ham Radio Club program today in West Plains, and he's going to be running that on the at the Howell County Ambulance Building on K Highway. Now, this starts at noon, and it runs for 2 hours. John is going to join us a little later this morning to kind of give us a brief overview on what this program is. But it's going to run from noon for 2 hours, and it runs for 10 to 12 weeks until you have enough information for you to be able to go out and apply for your ham radio license. Now, even if you don't want to apply for a ham radio license, I want you to attend this program if you have any interest whatsoever in ham radio. And the reason I want you to do that is because it's part of the Prepper and Patriot community movement in our nation. And it will enable you to communicate with other individuals who are like-minded. And it's a great communications tool that really can't be cut off or blocked the way some other communications can be. And so if you have the opportunity to take this class and you have any interest whatsoever, there's no charge for the program. John is the president of the local West Plains Radio Club, and he is a great guy. I've met him a number of times. He's done some speeches at some of the places where I've spoken as well. And he really knows this program in this industry. And so there's no charge for the class. You do have to buy a book. It's like $20, and I'm going to tell you how you can get it at Amazon in a minute. But you don't need the book this first weekend. So if it's something you want to take, make sure that you're participating in it and that you're giving yourself a chance to go to this class. It's at the Howell County Ambulance Building on K Highway, and it starts at noon. It's going to run for 10 to 12 weeks. Now, for some reason you're unable to make the entire series of classes, don't worry that much about it, because he can work with you to do a pickup class or whatever you want to call it. So you'll make sure that you get the resources that you need. You can get to Amazon.com please go to our website first. It's americasvoicenow.org, and you can click on the Amazon link on our website. It'll take you straight to Amazon. You type in the name of this title of this book. It's called Ham Radio License Manual with CD. It's less than $20, and when you do that, we get 3% or whatever of your total order. If you shop for stuff other than just books, by the way, on Amazon, please do that through our website because it helps to support us. Go ahead, caller. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing just fine.
What I called about this morning is there was the EPA had some test case in Virginia.
Yeah.
It's about, they were saying that rainwater was some kind of toxic sludge, or they was going to treat it like it, and they didn't want it running into the creeks. Now, that's crazy, I know, but the Attorney General in Virginia, took him to court, and he won the case. They had a group of judges unanimously, but they got 3 other test cases going on now, and they're all in Missouri.
Really?
Really. So
can you email me some information on that? Because we'll get all over that like a hobo on a ham sandwich.
Well, I would hope so. But, he called Chris Costner, our Attorney General, and sent the findings of the courts in Virginia so that he could use it for a sledgehammer, beat on these guys when the cases come up here. But Chris Costner didn't even know about it because they originated in the counties and not through the state.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so...
Now, who's filing this suit? Is it the EPA or is it the DNR, the Missouri Department of Natural Resources?
He said it was the EPA.
Okay. By the way, for those of you who don't know, the DNR, the Department of Natural Resources, is nothing more than a state-size EPA. That's all they are.
Exactly.
And make no mistake about it, the DNR is not your friend.
Have you ever read the code book in Missouri? You can pick it up in any hunting store. Those are all regulations that they say that the Senate sort of okays them, but if they do, they just rubber stamp them.
Yeah, that's a lie. The the DNR and the EPA are both what? Administrative what? Agencies.
Exactly.
And for the last 4 days this week, we went over and beat that horse to death with a dead dog about how administrative agencies are extra constitutional, operate outside the law, and have usurped executive, legislative, and judicial power away from, and Congress had no right to give them the authority to operate on our behalf without. We didn't give Congress the right to delegate the authority we've given to Congress to someone else, especially someone who's going to oppress us.
And that's the same with the Highway Patrol, too. They're just a bunch of appointees. So the governor back in the 20s appointed about 5 game wardens and 5 highway patrolmen, and look what we got today.
Yeah. And it's mission creep on every one of these agencies.
And I tried to fix it with Governor Nixon. I sent him a graft up there, and it's sort of like this. The head of the Highway Patrol and the head of the Conservation Department is voted on. And then each troop commander is voted on by the people. And then each district manager for the conservation is voted on by the people. You see, I don't figure we can disband them, but we can certainly put the vote back in there, and if we don't like what they're doing, we can vote them out.
Yeah. Well, here's the simple rule, folks. We have to put legislation in place, and that's a Restore Missouri project I'm taking on. And after this last week, I've got a piece of legislation that I, in concert with a group of other folks, is going to put together. And here's what this legislation is going to say. All federal administrative agencies are immediately and hereby null and void. And all state agencies are frozen in stasis, and no regulations may be created, promulgated, or acted or exercised upon until such time as they can come forth to the legislature and prove their constitutional parallels. In other words, they've got to prove the constitutionality of their life. They've got to be able to express why they exist, the constitutional basis by which they exist, and every regulation they've ever written has to have a constitutional foundational basis or it's null and void. Now,
that's a good start.
Oh, my God. Let me tell you what this means. By the way, this is likely to get me a bullet in the head, folks. And I'll tell you why. Because this would be the equivalent of an atomic bomb going off in our nation, in Washington, and in political circles. Let me explain to you why. If you were to say that every federal agency who is that is operating extra constitutionally and all of their laws are null and void, well, let me just give you a couple of ideas about what that would mean. First of all, Missouri residents would no longer have to pay federal income tax. Are you getting the implications of this statement? Secondly, the EPA would be completely outside the scope of law, and we would just say, EPA, you have no business operating within the state of Missouri. Have a nice day. The Federal Reserve would no longer be an acceptable solution, and we could institute sound money and bypass the Federal Reserve altogether. Are you guys beginning to get the implications of what this piece of legislation would mean? Now, let me make it clear. I have no delusion that this legislation will pass, and I'll tell you why. Because the minute that this gets read in the House, it is going to be the equivalent of setting off a political atomic bomb. And I guarantee you that every federal agency and every ounce of federal power will immediately swoop down on Missouri and say, you can't do that. So, but what it will do is this. It will awaken, first of all, it should get national media attention. And secondly, it will awaken literally 100 million Americans to the treason and the tyranny of administrative agencies.
Well, Mike,
now, let me tell you something. I'm probably likely to have a sudden heart attack, a bullet in the head, an automobile accident, or something similar. I'll find myself sitting in the Hooskow one night with a trumped-up charge for something else. I'm not operating under the delusion that this is a safety measure for me. It's not. But I'm determined to do it anyway. And so if you suddenly hear that I've died in a terrible blizzard or a car wreck or died of a heart attack or some other hoopla, you'll know exactly where and when and how this came about. Or if you find that I'm in jail on some trumped-up charge, you'll know exactly what the deal is. I'm going to try to push this legislation through. I'm going to write a preamble to it that's similar to what was done for the Firearms Preservation Act, and get it introduced in the House. It only has to be read, because then it'll get public attention, just like HB 545 did, where it's being talked about everywhere. I heard it on Coast to Coast this morning. What the heck are they doing over in Missouri over there? You mean if you don't turn your guns in 90 days, you're going to be a felon? Well, we want the same kind of media attention on this that says we're voiding all federal agencies, period. You don't have any right to play in our state. We are voiding all federal agencies. Everything that you've ever done, everything you've ever passed is null and void.
Mike, I'm with you. I'm for you. It's amazing to see anybody like you that would even speak out on all this stuff, but I'll pray for you.
You better. You might have to pray over me when this is all said and done. But here's the deal, America. I need you behind me. I need you to make sure that you're willing to stand up and say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to fight this, I'm going to help with this battle. Because if you do that, and only if you do that, will we make any headway. If you just basically wait there on the sidelines to see what happens to the first sucker who's willing to stand up, well, then I'm going to be a dead man, and that'll be the end of the show. But I can tell you this.
Bye.
Right. I mean, it is what it is. So, Hey, listen, I want to thank you for the call. I appreciate you. You have a great day. Right, bye-bye. All right, folks, we're going to take a break. I want to thank our friends at Ozark Mountain Self-Reliance. Please make sure that you get a chance to visit with them and support them. They can be found on the web at ozarkmtnselfreliance.com. They run a half mile east of Walmart on Highway 62 in Mountain Home, and they can be reached at 870-492-4030. Outstanding lineup of products for the self-reliant and patriotic American. They have everything in there for camping gear and self-reliance, survival. There's no limit to what they've got. You can get their website at ozarkmtnselfreliance.com, and you can call Brian, who's a friend of mine, at 870-492-4030. Please make sure that you are patronizing our supporters. They're patronizing and helping you. We'll be right back.
The area's best selection of firearms and ammunition can only be found at West Plains Pawn and Jewelry. Top-of-the-line handguns from Kimber, Smith & Wesson, Ruger, Glock, Beretta, and many more. A wide selection of ammunition including blanks, centerfire handgun and rifle, rimfire, a variety of shotgun shells, target, and turkey. With new arrivals every week, the area's best selection of firearms and ammunition can only be found at West Plains Pawn and Jewelry, 1713 West U.S. Highway 160, or shop online at westplainspawn.com.
Come join us for the grand opening of CrossFit Somo's new facility, 220 North Kentucky Avenue, March 1st and 2nd. They offer classes 7 days a week with over 5,000 square feet of floor space. CrossFit Somo's staff of 7 Level 1 certified instructors will be with you 100% of the time to ensure a safe and effective workout. Classes are also available for ladies only and CrossFit kids. Memberships are filling up fast. Be a part of the CrossFit revolution. March 1st and 2nd. CrossFit Somo, forging elite fitness.
There is this product on Amazon that is simply going crazy. The banana slicer, almost 2,500 consumer reviews. I've been trying to come up with an ideal way to slice a banana. Use a knife, they say. Well, my parole officer won't let me around knives. Or how about this one? What can I say about the banana slicer that hasn't already been said about the wheel or penicillin? Obviously, just a pure hoax.
Saturdays noon to 3 and weekdays at 7:35 for your digital minute. It's Kim Commando on the Ozarks Best News Talk 107.1.
Hey, if you'd like to call us on the Wits End Classic Barbershop hotline, you can do that by calling us at 257-1111, or you can call us on our toll-free line if you are way out there in the hinterlands. Not everybody's in the hinterlands. Yes, you are. If you're not local, you're in the hinterlands. You can call us on our toll-free line at 866-554-6636. Our sponsor for our phone lines is Wits End Classic Barbershop. Jason is a friend of mine, and it's like stepping into a barbershop that's like 50 years ago, you know. The only thing he's missing in there is a potbelly stove. He's got a little checkerboard and chessboard in there, and Beautiful little barbershop. $10 a haircut. Can't beat that with a lead pipe. Drop the guy a couple of dollars as a bonus for doing a good job on you. He also has the hot lather shave he does with a straight razor. So if you want to treat your guy to a nice morning, get him down there for a shave and a haircut. It's a little bit more than 2 bits these days, but hey, that's inflation, right? He also has something in there called a zero gravity chair. And this thing you sit in it and it kicks you back on an angle so that you feel like you're literally floating in space. And it massages your legs to your arms, your back, your hips, the whole 9 yards. If you've got circulation problems, doctors actually prescribe that you take sessions in this chair. And he sells them either by the onesie twosie, or you can buy a whole string of sessions and go in there and spend some time in there. I have to tell you, I've done this, and it is like you spend 15, 20 minutes in this thing. It's like getting a full body massage. Very, very relaxing. And if you have circulation problems in your legs or something like that, it's actually medically beneficial. So do yourself a favor. Get over to Wits End Classic Barbershop. Ask Jason about the amazing chair, zero gravity chair, as they call it. And you'll enjoy yourself over there. It's inexpensive. I think it's $10 a session or something. So you can't even get a real massage therapist to even talk to you for that kind of money. So do yourself a favor, get in there and get yourself a haircut and a shave while you're at it. Those ladies and kids, by the way, he does kids all the time. So if you've got a kid who's skittish about sitting in a barber chair, he's very, very enchanting to kids, and I think you'll enjoy that opportunity to spend with him. Go ahead, caller. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, good morning, Mike.
Good morning. Thanks for calling on our hotline.
I'm certainly willing to stand with you on the administrative thing. You know how I feel about it. And I've been saying the very same thing for years.
Yes, sir.
But I don't know what your problem is when you talk to people about this. But they've always looked at me like I was insane.
Well, that's why I spent 4 days on it. I wanted them to know that it wasn't, this isn't something where we're wearing tinfoil hats and we got propellers on our heads.
The problem is it's sort of a shadow government, as you well know, and unless you ever brush up against it, most people have no reason to ever think about it that much.
Right. They either don't know it exists or they've had no experience with it, and they think everybody who has been trampled on is just bitter, right?
Yep, pretty much.
And that's not true at all, folks. Let me tell you something. The legislation that is passed by executive agencies, and administrative agencies, far exceeds, like 10-1, the actual legislation that is passed by the Congress. So your true representatives in Congress aren't passing this legislation that is tying us down with chains. It's administrative agencies, and they have no authority to do so. None. So
in most cases, it's not even being reviewed. I mean, if Congress actually had to review all the regulations being passed by administrative agencies,
they'd actually have to work for a living.
There would be no time for them to pass laws, literally.
They'd have to work for a living. Nancy Pelosi wouldn't be able to get on her private jet and spend $1 million in taxpayer money on booze and food.
It'd be such a shame, wouldn't
it? If you guys haven't read that on our website, by the way, I encourage you to do so. I put up a story about Nancy Pelosi and how much money she spends on her personal jet. And they finally took it away from her. And I think this is the real reason why she's retiring, because they took away her jet. Judicial Watch filed a Freedom of Information Act, and the United States Air Force released documents detailing House Speaker Pelosi's use of a U.S. Air Force aircraft between 2009, March of 2009, and June of 2010. And they published it. Well, let me tell you something. Hear this. She took 85, total trips was 85 trips over a 68-week period, or 1.25 average trips per week. The total mileage was 206,000 miles, or 2,400 miles on average per trip. Total flying time was 428 hours, an average of 5 hours per trip, and the cost to the taxpayers, a whopping $2.1 million. And that was just the cost of the flights. The in-flight food and alcohol, another $62,000 a year. A total of $101,429.
Let's see, the diameter of Earth's about 25,000 miles, enough to go around about, 8 times?
Something like that. In one junket to Baghdad, according to an Air Force report, she had the aircraft bar stocked with, listen to this, Johnny Walker Red Scotch, Grey Goose Vodka, E&J Brandy, Bailey's Irish Cream, Maker's Mark Whiskey, Courvoisier, Cognac, Bacardi Rum, Jim Beam Whiskey, Beefeater Gin, Dewar's Scotch, Bombay Sapphire Gin, Jack Daniel's Whiskey, Corona Beer, and several varieties of wine. This was obviously a very important...
For the lobbyist.
Huh?
You got to have good lubricant for the lobbyist.
Exactly. She obviously has a serious drinking problem.
I'll get off here.
Hey, listen, thanks so much for the call. I appreciate you. Hey, by the way, this caller, folks, who we just had on, he was the guy who helped me pull this thing together for the reloading class that's going to occur on March 30th. So, there, and that just goes to show you that we make sure that we're working with our listenership here, right? I put out there that I'd love to have a reloading class, and he immediately got on the dime and found out where he could help me put together the right people to run the program. And we are now running it. And it's coming up on March 30th. It's going to be a reloading class sponsored by West Plains Pawn. And it's a $100 cost. Make sure you send me an email to mike@americasvoicenow.org and indicate in there that you want to participate in the reloading class. It's a one-day class. It's like 8 full hours, though. So, it's going to be held on a Saturday. It's March 30th. Put it on your calendar. This will teach you how to reload your own metallic cartridges. This won't be shotgun, just metallic cartridges. And it will immediately enable you to free yourself from the limitations that are out there on firearms ammunition. We know that ammunition is being squeezed. We know that the price is being raised. We know that the shortages are here. And we know that the government's doing everything in its power to either eliminate it or tax it out of existence or cut the supply down and so forth and so on. So by loading your own cartridges, you can build a custom load for your rifle or pistol that would be a perfect, load for that particular gun, a recipe, if you will, a reloading recipe for rifle A or a reloading recipe for rifle B, which will dramatically improve the accuracy of that firearm. And in addition to that, you'll have the freedom of knowing that you can load your own and not be beholden to the commercial manufacturers to produce what you need. So it's a $100 class. March 30th, put it on your calendar, send me an email. There's only 35 seats available. So, and I've already gotten a few of them spoken for. So if you are even remotely interested, you've got to get me an email ASAP on this because I don't think they're going to last very long. This is the first announcement I've done on it, and it's important that you make sure that you're participating in that class. Mike@americasvoicenow.org. Say, put in the subject line, reloading, and I'll know what to do with it. I'll get back to you. I'll give you a confirmation, and we'll get the ball rolling. Okay, our TAC-1 pistol class, that's going to occur on March 23rd. That's a 2-day pistol class. You're going to need between 750 and 800 rounds at minimum. Preference would be 1,000. This is a 2-day tactical pistol class that will teach you everything and anything that you need to know on how to be a true defensive pistol gunfighter, if you will. And it's absolutely wonderful class. I haven't taken one in many, many years because I can't. And I will not participate in this one for obvious reasons. But I can tell you that I've taken many of them in the past, and every one I've taken has been an exemplary opportunity. And let me tell you, you'll walk away from that class with a new feeling and a new confidence in your skills and your abilities. So don't overlook that. Just send me an email to Mike call it TAC-1 Pistol Training, and let me know. If you ordered co-op food in our last month's order, your food is ready. Go pick it up. You know where to go. The co-op food is in. Your order is here. It's ready for you to go. We're going to put another order together. And if you're interested in putting an order in on this new co-op order that's going to probably be done in March, towards the latter end of March, then immediately send me an email. We'll be right back.
Let's get to the point.
Well, let me get to the point.
FM News Talk for the Ozarks is FM 107.1 The Point. KBMV, Birch Tree, West Plains.
President Obama says hundreds of thousands of people will be laid off or forced to take unpaid leave. Teachers, air traffic controllers, civilian defense employees, if automatic spending cuts take effect on Friday.
Are Republicans in Congress really willing to let these cuts fall on our kids' schools and mental health care just to protect tax loopholes for corporate jet owners?
The president wants to bring in more tax money in addition to spending cuts to get the deficit down. In the Republicans' weekly address, North Dakota Senator John Hoeven says President Obama is the one preventing economic growth with red tape, like not approving the Keystone XL pipeline.
Mr. President, it takes more than a soundbite to get the economy going. But in this case, all it will take is your signature. And the American people would be with you.
The pipeline would bring oil from Canada down through to Texas. President Obama's political team's converting his re-election campaign into a national advocacy network.
Called Organizing for Action, the group is trying to raise $50 million, which would make it one of Washington's biggest lobbying organizations. It will deal with issues, not electoral politics. The New York Times reports that donors and strategists involved in the effort say it would be set up as a tax-exempt organization, similar to the super PACs that President Obama once criticized. The president of Common Cause, Bob Edgar, tells the Times that the president is setting a very bad model with the organization. Steve Knight, Fox News Radio.
The military's grounding all F-35 fighter jets for now, finding a cracked engine blade on one at Edwards Air Force Base in California during an inspection.
We want to ensure that it isn't systemic or representing a greater design problem that might cause a safety of flight issue in the future.
Pentagon spokeswoman Kira Hahn, that crack was found in an Air Force version of the plane, with Navy and Marine F-35s also suspending all flight operations. You're listening to Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
There's more to Fox News Radio than meets the ear. Go behind the headlines and join the conversation on the hottest stories of the day on the Fox News Radio Facebook page. Be a part of the Fox News Radio Facebook fan community. Post comments and tell us your opinions. See behind-the-scenes photos and videos and post your reactions to the stories that matter to you. Click the like button on Facebook and connect with breaking news and features like Fox in the Fast Lane, House Call for Help, and more. Go to Facebook.com/Fox News Radio.
Weeknights, we're busting out a brand new lineup. First, market fraud, government abuse, corruption. At 5, nothing's off limits on money with Melissa Francis. Then, from bloated bank fees to consumer scams. At 6, Jerry's exposing the issues impacting your wallet. Plus, get smart market insight and trusted analysis you won't find anywhere else. At 7, Lou Dobbs is all business. And the first and last name in business, Cavuto, shedding light on the biggest stories making headlines at 8. Only on the Fox Business Network, giving you the power to prosper.
Ford's feeling good about sales of its Echo Booth.
Hi, this is Sheila Murphy, store manager at Big Lots. We're located in the Southern Hills Shopping Center in West Plains, Missouri. Southern Hills is home to the best shopping establishment in South Central Missouri. Come visit some of your favorite department stores, and if a full day of shopping is on your list, there are also plenty of great places to eat when you get hungry. And they're all within walking distance. Southern Hills is the largest shopping center in the area and has everything you will be looking for. No need to leave West Plains. Stay local and shop local with Southern Hills Shopping Center. Proud to serve West Plains and the surrounding communities.
The area's best selection of firearms and ammunition can only be found at West Plains Pawn and Jewelry. Top-of-the-line handguns from Kimber, Smith & Wesson, Ruger, Glock, Beretta, and many more. A wide selection of ammunition, including blanks, centerfire handgun and rifle, rimfire, a variety of shotgun shells, target, and turkey. With new arrivals every week, the area's best selection of firearms and ammunition can only be found at West Plains Pawn and Jewelry, 1713 West U.S. Highway 160, or shop online at westplainspawn.com.
News Talk 107.1 The Point weather sponsorships are available for your business marketing plans. Contact Cody or Josh at 255-2548 for more information.
From the Point Weather Center for this morning, we have mostly sunny skies, high near 41 degrees, and then tonight we have a low around 26. On Sunday, sunny, high near 50. I'm Dawn James, and for more information, visit my1071thepoint.com.
A doomsday deadline looms in Washington on the next Alan Colmes Show. With just a week to go until the sequester hits, is America on the brink of fiscal disaster? We'll compare the rhetoric to the facts, and we'll take a close look at the blame game. Plus, you can be part of the debate. Pick up the phone, call in, make your voice heard on the next Alan Colmes Show.
Weekdays 9 to midnight. It's the Alan Colmes Show on the Ozarks Best News Talk 107.1 The Point.
It's about the restoration of our republic. We want to educate, encourage, enable the power. We stand for integrity. honesty, self-reliance, self-defense, and most importantly, no compromise on our foundational principles. This is America's Voice Now.
Find America's Voice Now on Facebook and at americasvoicenow.org. Here's Michael Evans.
We are surrounded by liars, thieves, cutthroats, and tyrants. I, for one, am sick of it. Alan Colmes, you can take your ideas and stick them. You're a liar and you're a shill. I'm sick and tired of liars. Listen to this piece. This will blow your mind.
Right, here's a tip. If you are reckless enough to create a crisis for the nation, you had better know how to fix it.
Whose idea was the sequester, and did you ever think that we'd actually get to this point?
First of all, it was the White House.
First of all,
Bob
sequester
Woodward.
is not something that I proposed. It's something that Congress has proposed. It will not happen.
Liar.
Everyone should be clear that sequestration is a Republican policy, and it is a bad policy.
Well, all I can say is the commander-in-chief came up with the idea of sequestration.
The president is part of the sequester. The White House recommended it, frankly.
That's a
It
Democrat.
was requested by the president. It was his idea, signed into law by him.
First of all, the sequester is not something that I proposed. It's something that Congress has proposed. It will not happen.
The sequester was the president's idea.
Didn't the idea for the sequester originate here at the White House?
The sequester was something that was discussed, and as has been reported, it was an idea that the White House put forward.
That's Jay Carney. I'm going to let you hear that again, because Jay Carney actually had to admit that which the liar-in-chief would not admit. Here we go again.
Something that was discussed, and as the sequester was something that was discussed. The sequester was something that was discussed, and the sequester was something that was discussed, and as has been reported, it was an idea that the White House. It was an idea that the White House reported. It was an idea that the White House put forward. Reported. It was an idea that the White House put forward.
It was an idea that the White House put forward. Did you hear that, folks? The liar-in-chief sits there and tells you straight to your face, looks right in that camera, and says, I didn't come up with the idea for sequester. He's a liar, and a pathological liar.
Well, first of all, it was the president's idea when this sequester was proposed to be put in.
You just heard Jay Carney admit that it was the liar-in-chief's idea.
The law a couple of years ago.
First of all, the sequester is not something that I proposed. It's something
he's a liar.
that Congress has proposed. It will not happen.
What I will concede is that we were looking, and the Republicans were looking, for a trigger around which to build the mechanism to get us out. We were looking, and the Republicans were looking for. What I will concede is that. What I will concede is that.
What I will concede. That means what I will admit to.
We were looking, and the Republicans were looking, for a trigger around which to build the mechanism to get us out of default possibility. Right. And that sequester was one of the ideas put forward, yes, by the president's team.
What?
The ideas put forward, yes, by the president's team. And that sequester was one of the ideas put forward, yes, by the president's team. And that sequester was one of the ideas put forward, yes, by the president's team. And that sequester was one of the ideas put forward, yes, by the. And that sequester was one of the ideas put forward, yes, by the president's team.
His own guy is admitting in public, on video, that he's a liar. White House occupant liar. Pathological liar. Pathological. That means he is incapable of stopping himself from telling a lie. This man has been a liar from Jump Street. He's a liar about everything. If his mouth is open, he is lying. If you don't go to the window to check when he says it's daylight outside, you are being fooled. When Obama's mouth is open, He is telling you a lie. I'm not going to stand here and say, he misrepresented. Well, it wasn't quite the truth. I'm going to call it what it is. He is a pathological liar. A liar. And he's lying to 320 million of us. And I am sick of it. Where is the House of Representatives with impeachment paperwork? Where is it? Where is the paperwork, House? Start the impeachment process. High crimes, misdemeanors. High crimes and misdemeanors. I can give you a laundry list of high crimes. And I can give you an even longer list of misdemeanors. I can tell you that this man emphatically is guilty of lies, betrayal of Americans, unconstitutional executive orders, Benghazi, cover-ups, deaths of Americans without constitutional oversight or review, a kill list. Who the hell does this guy think he is? I mean, it's just amazing to me that he can sit there. I want him in front, under oath. And I want him to stand there and swear under oath that he didn't start the sequestration process, that it wasn't an idea of the White House. And the minute he says, the minute he says it wasn't, they should immediately begin perjury charges against him and remove him from office. Why is impeachment so important? I'll tell you why. Because if you impeach the president, it's not a criminal charge, but it does stop any further damage he can do. And that's what we need. We need the damage to stop. We need the wild spending to stop. And we need to put this nation on notice that we are not going to kowtow to some super micro majority, or minority, of ideologues, traitors, and treason. It's time for the House to begin the proceedings. House of Representatives, I'm calling upon you. Start the impeachment process immediately. Stop talking about it, stop dreaming about it, and do it. File impeachment proceedings. That is the only way you are ever going to get this man out of power. And you don't have much time left. He is actively working to destroy America. He is a clear and present danger. He is an exigent threat to the safety, the security, and the foundations of America, the United States of America. Is this hard rhetoric? Yes, it is. Are these hard accusations? Yes, they are. Might this get me shot in the head? Maybe. People, it's time that we stood up and did the right thing. It's time we stopped running in fear from monsters and terrors. What are we waiting for? What are you waiting for? Why aren't you contacting your congressman demanding they begin the process? What is it going to take for America to stand up and say, this must cease? He is working actively to destroy our nation. What are you waiting for? There's a guy named Dean Garrison. Have you ever heard of Dean Garrison? This guy he's an excellent writer. And he's got a couple of posts out there. If I can find the right one, I'll read it to you. Basically, here's the point, folks. We've got to stop running in fear from a pathological liar and a dictator who is doing everything and anything in his power to basically destroy our nation. He is an exigent and a clear and present danger. I'm saying it out loud because it needs to stop. This isn't paranoia. This is reality. And we are looking here at the destruction of our nation as an entity operationally continuing. Don't you see that? We are on the edge of bankruptcy. We are on the edge of bankruptcy as a nation. He wrote 2 articles, this guy named Dean Garrison. The first one was, if they come for your guns, do you have a responsibility to fight? And he was clear about it in the sense that he writes and provides some very good and legitimate arguments for why the answer is yes. But he also has another article that followed this up that was even better. And that is, are you going to help me? And I tell you, this is what are you going to do to help me? And we are at the edge of the revolution, people. And I don't mean a violent one. I mean it is time for us to use the law to protect and defend our nation. We cannot continue to allow our country to fall. We have an obligation to protect and defend it, not only for ourselves, but for those who come after us. I mean, we've got to bring this thing to a halt. We need to do what Iceland did. Peacefully. Peacefully. We need to be able to be prepared for the worst. Don't get me wrong, because I don't think these guys are going to go down without a fight. But we need to do it peacefully and lawfully. And the right way to do that is to impeach this president. The right way to do it is to put him up under impeachment and bar him from doing any further damage. The message that it will send to the liberals in the planet is, this is over. This time is done. Your opportunity to continue to beat us into submission is finished. I mean, it's got to stop, folks. And how are we going to end it if we don't take action? Trust me, we're not going to get any kind of solution out of a Marco Rubio or any of these other so-called saviors of the party. The parties are in it together. I know I'm making enemies left and right as I talk like this, because these people don't want to hear this. And quite frankly, they don't want you to hear this. They don't want you to hear where things are going. They don't want you to hear that your country is being lost. They don't want you to hear that there are solutions. They want you to continue on in blind, dumb ignorance and fear. This whole sequester thing is all about fear. We're going to have to shut down airports and firefighters are going to lose their job. Let me tell you something, people. This is 2% of a budget that is so bloated, it's so out of control, that it's $85 billion. They lost that last week alone. They can't even find it. $85 billion is a flea on the elephant's ass. $85 billion is going to cause cataclysmic catastrophe. What a bunch of crap. What a bunch of lies and fear-mongering by both parties, I might add. Neither party is immune from blame here, people. This entire thing is based upon the fact that they were setting us up for the institution of the destruction of our financial system and the institution of martial law. Make no mistake about it. That's where we're headed. That's what they're trying to institute. They're trying to give themselves a reason. The banks will collapse, and then they can declare martial law. Steal everybody's firearms and say, you're all subjugated, that's it. We're taking final action. Well, if you want to fall for that, you go right ahead. But I can tell you this. There's going to be tens of millions of Americans who are going to say, no, I'm not falling for it. Wake up, smell the coffee, get your lazy rear end out of bed, and start working to save and preserve our republic. It's not optional. It's mandatory. We don't have any time left. We are out of time. We are out of time trying to let others solve the problem. We are out of time trying to allow Congress people to step into the breach and solve the problem on our behalf. They've clearly betrayed us and violated every tenet of every level of ethical, moral, and responsibility that we've given them. We've delegated authority to them to act on our behalf. With that delegation of authority, they have turned around and pointed a gun at our head and pulled the trigger. Period. End of argument. That's the truth. That's the simple, long, and short of it. They are destroying our nation with malice aforethought. Malice aforethought. And they're not concerned because their bed is made and they're going to get along just fine. They've got a protected place to go. Their families will be well protected. They have nothing to fear from martial law, and they'll be threatened or cajoled, those who are on the outside, the few honest individuals that are there. And I'll bet I can count them on one hand. What more are you waiting for? America, we need to stand up there and actually go to Washington by the millions and stand there and argue. We're not leaving until you go. In order for us to leave, you must leave. We need to approach Washington like they did in the old Frankenstein movie. You remember where they stood there with torches and pitchforks and said, "Send out the monster"? Well, in this case, there are 435 in the House and 100 in the Senate, probably 50 in the president's executive cabinet, and including him. And we need to remove them all from office and start over again. We need to declare our nation free of tyranny and free of tyrants and free of treason, and then begin the process over again. Constitutionally founded. I'll tell you why Americans are chicken. I'll tell you why they have no brass and they won't stand up. Because there is not a single man anywhere in the public eye today who you're willing to bank your life on. And that's the truth. There ain't a single one. You think Marco Rubio is the guy that you should back his play and hold his coat? You think he's going to stand and get into the ring and fight on your behalf? I don't think so. Are you willing to put your life on the line? You think in the long term and in the short term, he's going to stand there and say, American military or United Nations military, you don't have a right to kill that man, and I'll stand there and take a bullet on his behalf? I don't think so. Show me one current person in the public eye right now that you're willing to put your life on the line for. Show me one. Give me a name. If you can. 257-1111, 866-554-6636. I'm asking you, give me a name. Give me one person that you will confidently stand there and say, I will put my life on the line for this man. Will you? That's why America is falling. Because there is no one that we can stand there and say we will put our lives on the line for. No one. I mean, ask yourself the question. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with one another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to serve these rights, to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient cause. And accordingly, all experience has shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. Do you think we're the first people in history to feel this way? Do you believe that we're the first people to have sat here and said a government long established should not be changed for a light and transient reason? Of course not. We don't change for light and transient reason. And we do it peacefully. We have the law on our side. We have the Constitution on our side. We have the Declaration of Independence on our side. We have the Bill of Rights on our side. We have tradition on our side. We have righteousness on our side. We have wisdom on our side. We have determination on our side. We have hope on our side. We have the means, the method, and the motive on our side. Now, will you stand with me in the breach? Will you peacefully, wisely, with good intention, the purest of motives, restore our nation to its greatness, to its fairness, its elemental constitutional values? I'm challenging you. Will you stand with me in the breach? We're going to find out soon.
Snowstorm in 3 weekends as the Midwest continues digging out from snow, which forced hundreds of flight delays and cancellations. Boeing giving aviation regulators here its plan to fix battery problems on its new 787 Dreamliner. The cause of battery overheating not yet known. And movie lovers getting ready for the 85th Academy Awards tomorrow. Life of Pi pulled in more than $564 million.
The other box office heavy hitter, Les Miserables, making over $379 million.
I dreamed a dream in time gone.
Also in the $300 million range, Django Unchained.
Kill white folks and they pay you for it. It's not the light.
The two frontrunners, Lincoln and Argo, brought in more than $200 million.
Fox Radio, Sabrina Sabah, Fox News. We report, you decide.
The area's best selection of firearms, ammunition, and accessories can only be found at West Plains Pawn and Jewelry, your Class 3 dealer for automatic weapons and suppressors, including Gemtech and Huntertown, with a great selection of holsters, slings, magazines, and gun storage options. West Plains Pawn and Jewelry will also do special orders. With new arrivals every week, the area's best selection of firearms, ammunition, and accessories can only be found at West Plains Pawn and Jewelry, 1713 West U.S. Highway 160, or shop online at westplainspawn.com.
We believe the better the ingredients, the better the taste to bring to you the greatest tasting pastries possible. At Chantilly's Artisan Bakery, we use organic, locally sourced, and natural ingredients of the highest quality. Every item is handcrafted and baked fresh for you each and every day. Visit Chantilly's Artisan Bakery, number 2 Evans Arcade on the Courthouse Square in downtown West Plains, or call 255-2253, and you'll be glad you did.
The New York Times recently did a story on preppers. The story concluded that prepping was very rational behavior. Preppers are doctors, lawyers, teachers, builders, and plumbers, people just like you. At Ozark Mountain Self-Reliance, we specialize in the products and knowledge to provide your own safety net for troubled times. Isn't it time you joined your Ozarks neighbors who are already working toward independence? That's Ozark Mountain Self-Reliance, 3225 Highway 62 East in Mountain Home, 870-492-4030.
Attend the 21st Annual Home and Garden Show, March 2nd and 3rd at the West Plains Civic Center. Join the Southern Missouri Home Builders Association as we showcase today's trends and yesterday's memories. The Home Builders Association will be giving away a total of $1,250 in HBA Builder Bucks. It's the 21st Annual Home and Garden Show presented by the Southern Missouri Home Builders Association, March 2nd and 3rd at the West Plains Civic Center.
Weather is a service of News Talk 107.1 The Point. Contact Josh or Cody at 255-2548 for more information on making weather sponsorships part of your marketing plans.
From the Point Weather Center for this morning, we have mostly sunny skies, high near 41 degrees, and then tonight we have a low around 26. On Sunday, sunny, high near 50. I'm Dawn James, and for more information, visit my1071thepoint.com.
Hi, America. It's Hugh Hewitt on the next Hugh Hewitt Show. Congressman John Campbell is overseeing the Federal Reserve. That's right. He is chairman of the subcommittee that oversees the Federal Reserve, and he is sitting in for me. So any question that you have ever had about the Federal Reserve, now is the time to ask it. 1-800-520-1234. Congressman John Campbell in for me on the next Hugh Hewitt Show.
Sundays from 6 till 7, following Money Talk with Bob Brinker, it's the Weekend Journal with Hugh Hewitt on the Ozarks Best News Talk 107.1.
We have a half hour left in our show this morning. I'd like to open our phone lines to you who want to have some input on our State of the Union. If you'd like to make a comment on that and on where we stand, you're welcome to do that. You can call us on the Wits End Classic Barbershop hotline. You can call us at 257-1111 and 866-554-26 6636 if you are in the hinterlands. Go ahead, caller. Welcome to the show.
Yes, Mike, I support you in your effort to impeach the so-called president that we have, but I would still maintain, as I have in previous calls, that an easier way to remedy the situation is to have a committee in the House open hearings on the eligibility of Obama to hold office. That's the easier way to do it. You don't have to impeach him. You just have to have a public, open, thorough hearing investigating his right to hold office. There's abundant evidence that a
but you're asking a corrupt organization that has already sold their soul to this devil to turn around and find him to be evil. You're wasting your time with that.
But do you think impeachment's going to be easier? I mean, Bill Clinton was impeached for obstructing justice and lying under oath, not having sex in the Oval Office or Monica
But you can
Lewinsky.
find empirical proof that he has committed high crime and misdemeanor. You cannot find empirical proof that the general public, the world at large, and these traitors in the House or the Senate will accept that he's not eligible.
Well, how can you say that before it's even been investigated? How can you reach that
They're not
conclusion?
going to investigate it. That's my point. They're never going to do that for you. It may be true, and I don't even doubt it's true. But because I've seen the evidence with my own eyes. I've seen the evidence where he applied as a student under a foreign visa and gained foreign student loans.
Well, yeah, we have a foreign communist as our commander-in-chief.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm saying that all we can do is get the man out of power. And I don't care if we approach it and work on 9 facets of the diamond simultaneously. The point is this. We need to get him out of power.
Well, I wish we had asked Steve Hodges yesterday, or you had asked him, would he be willing to open a congressional hearing into the eligibility of President Obama to hold office? Would he be willing to stand up in the House of Representatives and say, hey, boys and girls, why don't we check into this matter? We've had years of people challenging the eligibility of our president. Why don't we settle the issue once and for all? Let's investigate it. Would you, Steve Hodges, stand up there and say that? And I'd be curious. Of course, he'd probably, I don't know what he would say, but it'd be a good question.
I don't know what he'd say either, but I can tell you this, that we trying to investigate and open an investigation. First of all, this administration is clearly very adept at cover-up. They've spent millions upon millions of dollars to protect and hide this man's, past.
Well, they've used our own taxpayer dollars to defend him in 30 lawsuits or so across the nation. Yeah.
Look, I'm not disagreeing that he's the Manchurian candidate. I'm not even disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that to get 435 people, or very close to that, who have already sold their soul to the devil is not going to make a solution come about. I'm just telling you that. That's the reality of it. And what we need to do is approach those areas where we can make an impact and not waste effort digging a hole that's not going to ever produce water.
Well, okay, but my judgment, my opinion is a little different. I
get it.
I would say that
and you're entitled to it, and I respect it. And I don't even disagree with it. I'm just telling you that while we're sitting here digging a hole in sand, the man is eating our lunch.
Well, our nation, our republic is basically lost, and just as you have your program to restore Missouri, we need a program to restore America. And I think impeachment is fine, but it would be easier to hold hearings that would publicly show the world that we have a usurper in office.
I'll tell you what, I can tell you that we do right here, because I'm reading a document that says, to name a few, he has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and to eat out their substance.
True.
He has affected to render the military independent of and superior to the civil power.
Yeah,
He is combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws, giving his assent or approval to their acts of pretended legislation. That's administrative agencies right there. For protecting them by a mock trial from punishment for murders which they commit on the inhabitants of these states. For imposing taxes on us without our consent through administrative agencies.
Amen.
For depriving us in many cases of the benefits of trial by jury, another keystone of the administrative agency.
Yeah.
How many of these you want me to go through?
Okay, Paul Revere, you go for it, and I'll ride behind you, but it's going to be a rough road.
Well, here's the deal. We are in dire trouble, and we're either going to get this guy out by impeachment, I think is the best way. And I don't disagree with your policy. And listen, I've called for the House to do these hearings, too. They don't care whether I call for that or impeachment. They just don't care.
I know. Joanne Emerson never answered any of my letters.
Well, look, I mean, please. That's like asking Nancy Pelosi to get on board with your ideas. It just ain't going to happen.
No.
Her bread was long buttered on the other side of the fence. Trust me.
I know, yeah.
Hey, listen, thanks for the call. I appreciate you. Go ahead, caller. Welcome to the show.
Hey, unanimous declaration of 76, my favorite document, Mike.
Yeah, I hear you. Good morning, Joe from Arkanistan.
Hey, man, we can only regret that we don't have at least 1,000 lives to give for our country. We get a lot more done with all this education from America's Voice and around. People are kind of coming out of the woodwork here,
I am hopeful that they are, because we're literally at the edge of complete and utter annihilation.
Of course, they have no choice, as their ox is being gored.
Well, listen, you know what? Our founders knew that they were under dire threat, and they made the decision to be hard about it and to take a hardline position and to do what was right. And for righteousness' sake. And they did. And they put their lives and their liberty and their sacred honor on the bench, on the table, and they went out and did what had to be done. And we don't need to do this violently. We've got all of the tools legally right before us. We just need the individuals who can wield that sword to stand in there and get the result that we absolutely need. And I'm not saying that, I said earlier, and I'm asking you, who would you be willing to stand behind right now? Give me one name in the political arena of one person that you would be willing to stand up and say, this man or this woman would be an excellent replacement for this president and will do the right things because they are uncorrupted.
None come to mind, Mike.
I rest my case.
If these bureaucrats keep poking the dog with a stick, he'll bite finally. And I see these American people getting quite upset. And the only question for the reprobates in office now is, do they want to go the easy way or the hard way? I see trouble coming. I hope they choose the former there.
I get it, but here's, the reality is what it is, right?
Yep.
And I can find 30 reasons alone right here in the Declaration of Independence that exactly match what we claimed was the problem with King George to claim what is the current problem with not just this administration, with our government as a whole. It's been going on for generations, people. This isn't new, and it's not limited to Obama. These administrative agencies weren't put in place by him. I mean, this stuff has been going on since the 30s, 20s, 10s.
Yeah, Mike, on these, I was going to tell you, thanks for the 4-day series there, man. It was the administrative regulatory agencies is where the problem lies.
I hear you, brother.
It reminded me of a Missouri case. I went back and looked up and checked a little quote from an order from a judge in which this particular defendant was trying to form a pauperous, and he either didn't answer the way the court wanted him to, or done a lot of NAs, not applicable.
Yeah.
And the judge ruled that not in proper form, material questions unanswered by invocation of extra legal authority. and proposed filings heretofore ruled adversely to filer by the presiding judge.
You're losing us here.
Now, did I?
Yeah.
Hey, my question is, let me go over that again.
Okay, I got a lit up board, so be quick.
These extra legal questions is what he was bringing up. Now, why is it that they can use extra legal authority, but we can't out there? That's my question.
Because they're in power and we're not. Thank you.
Well, color of law is their number one tool of constructive fraud.
I appreciate where you're heading.
You bet. Forgive them not, Father, for they know what they do. Hey, I'll catch you later.
Talk to you soon. Hi, caller. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mike.
Good morning.
I'm a first-time caller. I've listened to you a whole lot since you've been on air.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
When I met you at the cheese factory and told you I listened to you religiously. But I think our government is trying to either start a revolution or either a civil war or something to try to get more control over us. But I think they're going to bite off a little more than they can chew. But,
Well, they want us to make the first mistake. And that's why we do it civilly and peacefully and lawfully.
Yes, sir, and that's what I want to do, but they're going to keep fooling with these cheese farmers and milk farmers, and eventually one of them's going to come out there and put a stop to it.
Well, that would be a mistake if they try to react the wrong way, because I'm going to tell you...
That's right, I agree, but then that's when everything's going to hit the fan.
Well, it's imperative that each of us keep our cool. All of us keep our cool, and those of us who are surrounding others who are being persecuted keep our cool and help them to do the same. Because this being done improperly will destroy our foundation. And you know, listen, we need to have the moral high ground here.
I agree.
So, you know, we got to do it the right way. But listen, I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
And thanks for your loyal listenership. I appreciate you. Keep listening, bud.
Oh, I do. I listen to you religiously, man.
Gotcha. Thank you so much. Spread the word with your friends, too. Appreciate it. Go ahead, caller. Welcome to the show. Caller, are you there? Go ahead, caller. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, Mike?
Yes, sir.
I believe people should probably read Rise and Fall of the Roman Empire. I mean, it's a heavy read, I grant. But the Roman Empire never fell from external forces, really. I mean, they were eventually overcome by Vandals and Visigoths and such, but they'd fallen apart internally.
Yep. They fell apart from inside corruption. You're absolutely right. And it's been our downfall. It's been working at it for 100 years. Don't forget, people, it took 400 years for Rome to fall. 400 years for Rome to fall. The corruption started, but when it went, boy, it went quick. So, thank you. I appreciate that input.
You're welcome.
Go ahead, caller. Welcome to the show.
Yes. My dad, God love his heart, had a Purple Heart. He laid down his life for this country to remain free and stuff. And I don't know if you're aware of the fact that they're going to March the 1st, I was told that people receiving Social Security benefits and veterans benefits and stuff, if you don't have it turned over to have it directly deposited, you're either going to be fined or you're going to lose your money. So March 1st is really close, guys.
Okay, where is this? You have some kind of a link on this event?
It's federal. It was in the people's checks the 1st of February.
No, I understand.
Until March the 1st. By March the 1st, if they did not have a bank account, so the government knows where your money's going. You know, if they did not have a bank account, they would either be fined or they would not receive their funds. No more checks are being sent out. No paper is being sent out.
Do you have a link to that story or something that you can email me?
I have a friend that I hope I can get the piece of paper that was in with her check the 1st of February.
Could you get me a copy of that somehow and get it over to me?
I will ask her, and if I can get her to give me that, if she didn't throw it away or something like that, I'll be more than glad just to send it to you.
Great. You can mail it to me.
Original, because by March the 1st, and my fear is all the older people just got their check out of the mail, they went and cashed it or whatever like they normally do, because most people don't have bank accounts anymore, and stuff because of lots of issues. But anyway, my fear is they didn't read it. Guess what? They're not going to have any money March 1st.
I got you.
So it's scary, and it's on top of us right here.
It's happening every day, dear.
Oh, the government they're tightening right now. They're tightening their belt. We're going to
no, they're tightening the noose around our neck.
That's exactly right. They are.
The thumb screws are being tightened.
Don't know a politician I'd stand for, but I'll stand for my family, and I know how to shoot.
There you go. Well, thank you, dear. I appreciate your call.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Folks, I mean, look, they are tightening the noose, and it happens every single day. We're seeing the list, the noose tighten every single day. So it's imperative that we all participate and do our part. If you're interested in our co-op, your food, by the way, if you ordered from our last co-op, the food is in. You can go pick that up today. Anytime after 9 o'clock this morning until 4 o'clock this afternoon, you can go get your order. Our food co-op allows you to buy bulk food at wholesale pricing, and basically, it's 50-pound bags of rice or grain or wheat or whatever the case may be. And your orders are in today. You can go pick them up. You know where to go. Our TAC 1 pistol training will occur on March 23rd. That is a 2-day class. You will need 750 to 800 rounds, preferably 1,000 rounds of ammo. You will, at the end of 2 days, have become an expert pistol operator, and I strongly encourage you to take that class. Also, as a husband and wife or family team, or father and son, or mother and son, mother and daughter, father and daughter, whatever, take that program. Send me an email to Mike at America's Voice Now, and you can put TAC 1 pistol training in there. If you're interested in a CCW class, put in CCW in the subject line. If you're interested in our co-op, make sure that you put co-op on there. We're going to be doing another order that's going to occur in March. That we'll have to, you have to go in and place your order for the products that you want. We're going to be doing our law seminar in March, which is with Mike Brown. And then also on March 30th, we have a date set for our reloading class. And that class is $100. Make sure you send me an email to Mike at americasvoicenow.org, and you put in the subject line, TAC 1 pistol, CCW, cooperative, law seminar, or reloading. I'm confusing myself. There's so many of these programs out there. Because that reloading program is an absolute mandatory need for those of us who are interested in being able to supply our own ammunition. Go ahead, caller. Welcome to the show.
I just wanted to call on that Social Security issue.
Okay.
My wife and I are on Social Security. We got a letter a couple of years ago saying that this date was coming up, and after that they were never going to send checks in the mail anymore. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Is that so, or did you get another letter stating that if there no more paper checks?
Oh, yeah, they've sent us a couple letters, saying that you got this date to do this. See, well, anyway, we went ahead and had it took out electronically at our bank, right? Well, anyway, then they sent me this letter and said, "Thank you for choosing to do your banking electronically." I chose to just get the paper check, but I was forced to do it electronically. And it's funny how these government agencies are. Thank you for choosing. I didn't have a choice.
I got you.
And they give you a deadline, and that was it.
Well, let your cash get deposited, and then take it out of the bank the same day in protest. I don't care if you bury it in a mattress or carry it around in your pocket, but get it out of that bank just as a protest to say, you know what, I'm not going to let you do that to me. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it.
All right.
Folks, I wanted you to support our friends over at West Plains Pawn and Gun. West Plains Pawn is the sponsor of our reloading class on March 30th, and you can find them on the web at westplainspawn.com. You can reach them via telephone at 417-256-3000, and you can find them on Route 160, about a mile past Walmart on the right-hand side. Make sure that you get in there and let them know Mike from America's Voice sent me over here. I'm here to do some business with you. Our friends over at Pizza Hut out on Porter Wagoner Boulevard. They have an outstanding lunch buffet that runs from 11 to 2 every day, Monday through Friday. On Tuesday night, kids eat free, and so it's family night. You can bring your whole family in there, and any kids under 12 will eat free, so you can fill them up and do it cheap. Pizza Hut, great place to go. Porter Wagoner Boulevard. When you get in there, ask for Bree and tell her and or the owner or the manager over there that Mike from America's Voice sent you. Our friends at the battery station at 303 Washington Avenue right off the square in West Plains, 417-257-7799, and you can find them at batterystation.com. Make sure you get a life straw when you go in there. Don't forget your life straw. They also have ammunition in stock and a whole bunch of other tactical gear and stuff you should get to see. Bill Stone over at Stone Construction, 2930116, whether you're doing a remodel, a brand new construction, light commercial work, or farm work, he's the guy for your job. Bill Stone at Stone Construction, 2930116. My dear friend Mary over at Chantilly's Artisan Bakery, who I hope is making coffee for me right now. You can find Mary at number 2 Evans Arcade right off the square in West Plains, and her telephone number is 255-2253. She has, by the way, this is the best damn bakery you're going to find in 100 miles, so make sure that you go over there and support her. You'll find excellent homemade breads, all organic and locally sourced ingredients, pastries, and all kinds of things that'll just blow your doors off. So go see our friend Mary at Chantilly's Artisan Bakery, number 2 Evans Arcade, right off the square, 255-2253. And my friend Brian over at Ozark Mountain Self-Reliance. And you can find him on the web at ozarkmtnselfreliance.com. You can find him also at 3225 Route 62, 1/2 mile east of Walmart in Mountain Home. He can be reached at 870-492-4030. Ask for Brian. Tell him Mike from America's Voice sent you over there. Also, make sure you visit my friend Jason over at the Wits End Classic Barbershop. He is an outstanding young fella, a great barbershop, $10 for a haircut. And when you get in there, ask him about a hot lather shave with a straight razor. It's a nice treat for your guy. Go ahead, caller. Welcome to the show. You got about 30 seconds. Caller? Okay. If you call me, you got to answer the phone when I pick it up. Okay, listen, I want you to visit our website at americasvoicenow.org. I also would like you to see our Facebook page at facebook.com/America's Voice Now. We also post this and every other show up on YouTube. We also post this and every other show up on YouTube at youtube.com/America's Voice Now. And you can also make sure that you share this video with your friends so that, you can just send them an email with a link and that kind of thing. It'd be a great opportunity. Also, before we wrap up this morning, do not forget to get a hold of John Price. He's at 372-1138. John will be running the ham radio program this morning. They'll be meeting at noontime for 2 hours, and that's going to be at the Howell County Ambulance Building on K Highway. It runs for 10 to 12 weeks, and it is an outstanding program that will teach you everything that you need to know about ham radio. It will enable you to get your ham radio license, and there is no cost to go to the program. You will need to buy a book that you can get on Amazon.com. It costs less than $20. If you're interested at all in prepping, being a community link, then ham radio is a great way for you to do that. So please make sure that you're there today. It is at the Howell County Ambulance Building, around the back, by the way, on K Highway. And it's a 10 to 12-week program that will run from now until whenever, until you have enough information to be able to take the course and operate it. And we are looking forward to that. Listen, you all have a great day. It is the wrap for our show for today. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share your morning. My name is Michael Evans. You can find me at americasvoicenow.org, and please email me, mike@americasvoicenow.org. Make sure you let me know what your interests are, and if you have interest in any of our programs and classes, please get to me immediately. Thanks. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you all Monday morning.
News Talk for Missouri and Arkansas. 107.1 KBMV, Birch Tree, West Plains. The Point.
At the end of the week, if there's no deal to